I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you a go love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick-Nick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices, add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick-Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
That Sports for the best authentic sportswear. You check Wilson Sports when you want the best authentic sportswear. Wilson Sports. Food change advertise fee. And if you roll out the numbers, remember, no easy half, no off.
Some sports were for take notes. Them full of dreams and hopes. Then why them come and sell rope? When there is only one, yeah, there is only one goat. And that a Wilson, yeah, that a Wilson, yeah, that a Wilson Sports. Yeah, ball boots, ball tops, ball shots, string yard, ball socks. Them kind of drip you quick for make your ex call back. Little quickness in my boots and ball out, me want that. My Nike ticky pretty and my Adidas all black. Dribble down, you feel it, grip me feel me can't drop. Slide tackle all, me own a team and know this now pop. Why? Because me buy the supper.
Good morning. Have no fear. Money's man is here. I know you thought for a while that I disappeared. But I'm actively active. According to the great one, fresh God, blessings to one and all. Greetings in the mighty name of the Most High God. Jehovah Jireh, the one who provides and supplies all my needs according to his riches in glory. Hallelujah. We bless his name. You understand me? We are grateful for life and life more abundantly in the Most High God. Welcome. You understand me? I urge you as usual to continue to look to the hills. Yeah. From whence cometh your help? Your help comes from the Most High God, the one who has made the heavens and the earth. We have a big show lined up for you today. We have many guests passing through. You understand me? We have Kerry James, the man who has all the scoop on the cusp Boxer Youth Classic that was just completed. Yeah, he's going to be passing through. We have people like Freddie Butler who are going to be passing through today. We have people like Simon Preston who will be passing through today. And there is someone very special that I can't tell you yet. It is a surprise. You understand me? But as usual, hit the like button, subscribe, and share right now. You understand me? So we also have the membership option, so you can become a member of I Am Sure Sports right now by right there. You see the membership button. You just become a member of the platform. Very, very low monthly fees, and there are benefits that you're going to get when it comes on to that. All right, so go ahead and do that right now. Again, hit the like button, people. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe, please share. You understand me? Listen, if you are not the brightest bulb in the pack, this conversation may go over your head today. We're not going to have any quarrels. We're not going to be cussing out anybody. We're here to look at steps we can make to go forward in the football. All right? We're going to talk about the U17 North American camp. That is what the NA is for. Then we're going to talk about the U20's. We're going to look at that squad. They're off to Trinidad to play 3 games. We're going to talk about that. Notable absentees, notable inclusion, and what this means for the final squad. Then we're going to talk about persons who have been called up. What is Coach Hallgrimson's mindset in calling up some of these players? What is the play for some of these players? We're going to talk about that. All right. Then we're going to talk about some election. I think that Shenanigans is spelled wrong, We need to get that. Hey, I wish dance person. A joke me I met, man. I will say it wrong. Shenanigans. How you mean? All right. More election. Shenanigans. Crowe had this to say. Not John Crowe, though there's an actual person called John Crowe, but it don't have an E. I think we miss out a letter on this one. It should have been certain that the name of the person is Crown. Crowne. We're going to hear what he has to say, but I have my first guest on. You understand me? He's the New York Times best-selling author of Simon Says, right? And in that, you have I'm just kidding. Let's invite RBC Reggae Boys commentary himself, the sports guy. You understand me? One Mr. Simon Preston, who will kick off things this morning and give us some update on the camp. You understand me? The bearded Simon. How you doing, my friend?
Good morning, sir. How are you? Hope all is doing well. Morning to all the viewers.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've been, since I was probably 10 or 12, I've been shaving, so I want to see what it looked like. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if I were you for 2024, I'd just let the year grow, man. At least until the summer. You understand me? We in the winter now, you're probably going to be in some winter weather. So maybe, you need to keep some of that facial hair. You understand me? No, you're looking like a real man. You understand me? You look like a youngster, a little youth. No, they're going to say, But, well, how you doing? How the family?
Yes, the family is doing good. Got a great opportunity to catch up with my mom recently and stepfather. So they're doing well. They're touch base on the island as well. Catching a lot of JPL as well. As you know, Coach Hallgrimson is here as well. So
yeah,
putting plans in place for the busy year that we have ahead. So it's an exciting time for him to look forward to, as you're aware. So we're looking forward to all aspects, whether it's junior or senior football. Yeah. A lot of things to discuss, I'm sure.
Yeah, you watched a few games. You watched 2 at Draxall. You watched one in Montego Bay. I think that should have been a double header, but exactly. There was that very strange happening. I think PFJL gonna have to figure that out, because that I think there's I don't know. I don't like how that was handled, because So many games were played at Arnett Gardens, even last year, that were not Arnett Garden home games, but teams, including Montego Bay and United, drove up to play Arnett Gardens, their home game at Arnett Gardens for the purpose of TV.
Correct. Exactly. Yep. You're
so it was a little bit strange that they wanted to host the night games and it never worked out. So it ended up being one game down in Montego Bay and one game in Kingston.
Yeah.
Not the best thing for TV and if you're trying to promote the league, but so.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And for me, my rule of thumb is this, like life is so unpredictable. There can be changes. I get that. For me, it's about ample notice. So if an announcement from for example, Arnett came 48 hours before the game, I could say, oh, okay. But it was just very last minute, and this affects a lot of things, as you're aware, with broadcasting and everything, so there had to be tweaks here and there. So I understand exactly where you're coming from, where that is concerned. If there's changes, for me, any aspect of life, there should be ample notice. That's how I feel, honestly, generally speaking.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Brian, I'm going to let you come on, right? I'm going to put up this flyer first. Simon, I need to show a flyer. This is from the veteran Jamaica Defense Force player, Black Lions, Michael Tolo. And it says Corner League, first place, 150,000. That is Jamaican dollars. Second place gets 100,000. Third place gets 70,000. And fourth place gets 40,000. It starts on Sunday, the 28th of January. The entry fee is $10,000. But the Monday the 16th, entry is closed. But if you link Management, he understand me, he can not break the rules, but can find a way to get into the tournament, because you know that if you know the organizer, you may be able to be squeezed in. It will be at the Barry and Lloyd Community Center, Old Road, Kidston Town. Special interest in there, leading goal scorer, best defender, best goalkeeper, most disciplined team, MVP. All teams must be properly attired. Right, it is approved by the St. Catherine Football Association. And the winning team will receive trophy and cash prize. So go out and support the veteran Michael Tolo. You understand me? That is the Kidston Town Corner League entry fee. Just a meagerly like 65 US, somewhere right there, 65, 68, probably 70 US dollars. Little bit of money. Move from yourself with your little bit of money. If you put in 10,000, you can win $140,000 on top of your 10,000. Simon, we should enter a team in this competition, my friend. What say you?
Yes, man, I agree, man. I have my pen and paper already. So we need a first team that we can put together.
You know what they should do? They should invite the Reggae Boys staff to play a game against the champion team for the 150,000 Jamaican. If we win, we take the money.
Of course, I'm on board with that. Yeah, man. So my name is Manu, play left wing.
No, I'll be left back in the dressing room.
Hear this.
Yeah, man.
You're so humble.
All right. Brian said that Arnett was within their right to host their home game. The PFJL is in the habit of doing things without proper notice. What do you mean by proper notice? Okay, all right. So anyways, Brian, you need to come and tell me how long would have been the fixtures out, because I think these fixtures were out from way before. It's not like new. So you need to explain that. But Simon, talk to us. I mean, Coach Hal Grimson, he's accustomed to.
Yeah.
Right. Once he's in the island, he has these 2 days kind of a camp. We have seen him work with defenders on some occasion, midfielders, and attacking players. This is now like a full squad. just tell us about, talk to the people. Why is this important, and what is the end game to Coach Al Grimson calling some of these players that he'll probably be looking at for the first time, and then you can probably tell the people like who are some of the players who are. This is actually the first time, they're actually having an official call up under Coach Himir Al Grimson.
Sure, no problem. So this is nothing new to us. Remember, from March last year, camps of this nature took place with domestic-based players, and this was something that was regular for a couple of weeks, even prior to the friendlies against Trinidad, one in Mobay and one in Kingston last year. And the same with Coach Wall as well in relation to domestic-based camps from March of last year. The focus has been to shift the thinking towards only being in camps prior to tournaments to having something more on a regular basis, even if a tournament is a year from now, 10 months from now, just to have that consistency. And Coach Al Grimson has preached even after the Canada Games how important January is, and the first 2 weeks of February would be for domestic-based players, and the latter part of February going into March, the focus would be Nations League. So the priority is the domestic-based players, and it's evident to see when you see the particular matches that he's attending in the JPL, and also the communication with the different parishes to let them know the plan, the project moving forward for this calendar year and future as well. So it shows great investment of time, energy, and strength into getting everybody on board and all stakeholders together. Especially even yesterday in Mobay, many different stakeholders around as well. So it was great to see that atmosphere as well. And I'll touch on the names quite shortly, but certainly it's one that will be quite exciting. I'm sure the players in the squad will use this as an opportunity as well to impress, because of what the year has ahead. Copa America, Nations League, World Cup qualifiers, anything can happen from this sort of standpoint, and a great opportunity for them to impress as well. A couple of new faces, and we're eagerly looking forward to it. So this is for this.
Hold on. Let me just find out. Has ever Kerry? You have seen? We're talking about it. Welcome, Kerry. Kerry. CJ. Brian says, Manins, I wanted to join the stream, but you have on a real journalist and a fair coach. I cannot be a part of that.
which is the just kidding.
Yeah, but I hope everyone is aware of the team, as Simon says. You have the team, Kerry, right? So
Yeah, I saw the team. Yeah.
All right, so you can continue, Simon. Yeah, man.
Sure, no problem. So the camp for this week in particular is Wednesday and Thursday of this week. And the plan would be to have every week up until around mid-February thereabouts, that sort of consistency as well. As you know, you'll have teams in the GPL that will play on Mondays, so you wouldn't have a camp starting on a Monday because of local Premier League commitments. So you would have a Wednesday, Thursday sort of routine, or maybe a Tuesday, Wednesday, depending on those circumstances as well. And this would go all the way up to February. Just going to highlight a few names. And of course, if persons in the comments, have any questions, they can be able to make note as well, or you can tell me to pause if you have any question or comment you want to make as well. But
and you can also call in if the desire. And I'm very sure that Kerry will have a couple of questions. So he's actually at work, so we may have to probably slide off and slide back on as we go. But go ahead.
Kerry is not on an airplane, so I don't know if it works.
live from Port of Spain, Trinidad. No, just kidding.
Please, I just want you both to know that we are live on air, right? They say I need to start telling people before they start talking that they're live on air. So if you go call people names or anything, please. I had to delete a big chunk of a show recently because the person said that they didn't know they call live, but they didn't know that the live was on air. So,
ouch.
So go ahead, Simon.
Yes, I know many persons may have their eyes open on the squad, but the reality is that apart from the Jamaica Premier League, we have players that played regionally as well in the CONCACAF Caribbean Cup and made solid performances there as well. So if you factor those in as well, it's a great opportunity for these. For me, I'm eagerly looking forward to see Justin Dunn, because I think going from that left back position to being a centre forward, I'm eager to see how he will do in that national team environment. He spent the summer in Spain as well, a couple of weeks, and I do think it's a great opportunity for him to impress as well. And if you look at the squad, you have representation from 8 clubs that are involved.
I think it's 10 clubs. I count 10. If you count the reserve players, because Shanil Thomas is not going to be around.
Mm-hmm.
So there is Jason Wright, Kemar Beckford, that's Mullines Veer, and Jaheim Thomas.
So that would be 10.
So if you add those, I think it makes it to 10 clubs out of 14, which is, I think, a very, very big deal. So that's good representation of the league. Yeah.
Absolutely. When you factor those matters in terms of those names involved. And also the goalkeeper, Tyrone Williams, he received his Jamaican passport recently, Canadian born to Jamaican parents, Portmore United goalkeeper. So it'll be intriguing to see him in this environment as well, alongside Shakwan, who has been called up to the national team before, not his first time. And of course, faces that we have seen before in previous camps, or persons that have, stamped their authority within the JPL. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure that Coach Helgrimson will be looking eagerly towards these faces and making those notes.
Yeah. Kerry, anything you want to say, Kerry?
Not really. I just briefly saw the squad when Simon sent it out. So interesting. Like you said, it seemed to be a good cross-section of clubs.
Hold on, Kerry. Caller, you have to mute and Kerry speaking so we can cut out the background noise, and then we'll come to you. Or you can call back. All right, thanks. Go ahead, Kerry. Sorry about it.
Yeah, I was saying that there was a good cross-section of clubs represented. Most of the bigger names that you see doing well in the Premier League. So I think it's a good look to give them the opportunity to get that kind of coaching. So yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing the experience that they get.
Yeah. All right. We have Balakar, who is online. Balakar, welcome to the show. Good afternoon. You're live on air, and I am sure sports.
Yeah, man. Big up to everybody. Big up to the panelists, man. Me over here when I say I'm not going to name about the squad and things. But with this squad coming up, if the coach want to give a lot of players are looking. My opinion, me feel same should I get like the more younger players where probably have a future playing the national team, rather than pick some players who have no future for the national team. Can call him, but we just don't want to call no name. You understand? If you want to pick some player from like 25 or down. You understand, man? You can't pick a 33-year-old or a 32-year-old.
So why Balakar? But Balakar, listen, if you're gonna call out the age, you don't think we're smart enough to know the player.
True, but that's my opinion that good baller have a good Premier League career, but we just feel say we need to go to the younger players where the coach are going to show them some things, or them are going to learn from the coach, but then can carry go overseas. But the older players, them do them time, them get them fair chance back in that time. Forward we are going with the youth, you know me always rate our local based player, but going forward what we do, we just need to just do the right thing and just
but all right, let me ask you a question though. I mean Simon, after you respond, Simon or Kerry can respond. Should a player be selected based on playing merit? Or should he be selected based on his age?
Merit.
So if on merit, why wouldn't you then call Sule McCullough?
Because Sule McCullough, management at this point of team age, you cannot offer nothing to the national team.
But you said that they must be selected on playing merit, not based on age.
So is Sule McCullough the best right back in the island?
Who is playing better than him in that position?
the Cavaliers right back. You have a right back and a man to the base.
No. All right,
That
slow,
they
slow
play
down, slow down. Who is the Cavaliers right back that you speak of?
You have Reed really played, but probably gone overseas.
So Reed, Adrian Reed, right back
Me watch him play right back.
at Cavaliers.
Yeah, up to the other day. I
Interesting.
remember they moved Ian Zert from left back to left midfield.
Was they playing a back three, and he was playing on the right side of the deep back three?
If he was playing a right back, the back three management is still playing the wall of it. Call it full back. Management, the point of the matter is Tully McCallum is not going to offer nothing to the national team right now at his age.
All right, so players should not be selected based on playing merit, but based on their age.
So Jesus, peace, man. Management, may I always go, you know. I may always win in management. You understand what I say, no, man? Simon Preston, you understand what I'm saying, right, sir?
I hear you, but for me, what we need to factor in as well is the non-FIFA windows, which is why having these camps are so important. So like April, May, non-FIFA window.
Yeah.
And even August and December as well. Remember, we played Guatemala in a friendly in a non-FIFA period as well. So that's why these camps are so important, and that's why the domestic players should be together. So regardless of their age, for me personally, I do think persons in the squad have an ability to be able to at least play in a friendly, even if the Trinidad games come together for the senior team, or April, May when a friendly arises, because things can pop up. So for me personally, this 23, 25 member squad, I think there's an opportunity for them to play for Jamaica or make their debut for Jamaica. That's me.
Okay, well, management. Well, you see, that's what I asked Simon Preston, because Simon Preston explaining better than you.
I was explaining.
Yeah, man, we have a real journalist. Simon, well,
Simon,
now.
hold on. What kind of journalist I am?
Yes, sir. So, like, Simon Preston, when we feel should have happened, all right, you get the call up, and you say the Winters there, they can make a debut for Jamaica or whatever. I feel like we need to have more scout going to the Premier League games to see all of the players then. You understand? Probably if you have 3 scout or 4
But Balakar, the only team not represented here, to be fair, is I don't see a Mobile United player. Treasure Beach, Lime Hall, and which other club?
Dumby Holding player there?
Yeah, there's Dumby Holding, there's Nicholas Nelson. I'm trying to figure out, there's one other club that there's no player represented. So the point I'm making,
Jamalco.
Yeah?
Jamalco.
Veer. Yeah, there is a Veer player in Kemar Beckford. So I'm saying that Humble Lion. Right. So the truth is that is indicating that there is good scouting, because if you have 14 teams and you have players representing 10 of the 14 teams, it is obvious that there is a good network of people looking at games to have selected from 10 of the clubs, in my opinion.
That's true, and not all young players on the list should be there also.
So just give us your thoughts and then we'll move on. Who you think should not have been there, and who you think is deserving of the spot over them? Because it's one thing to take out a player. Who you would put in instead?
Let's take out the Mount Pleasant midfielder, the Godfrey, and replace him with the Thomas from Arnett. Although I reserve push him up.
Oh, so you not have a Jaime Thomas in the reserve. But given the fact that Shanil Thomas is I think Shanil Thomas is away, and Alex Marshall I think is away, then he could be in it.
Oh, okay.
I think both of those players are away. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but at this present moment, Godfrey not being himself, like playing wise in the JPL this year. Now, in have a good season and thing. What most I give them, man, you know, he now have a good season. And hopefully, he can pick up back. But first time I'm Mount Pleasant, so he probably they get used to the system what them play. But the way I play right now, he now play good. You understand? And me surprised me not see Demario Phillips alone. You understand?
I think they're saying that Demario Phillips will be leaving soon.
Okay.
And I think Kimone Bailey could be on his way out of Mount Pleasant overseas soon as well. So those two players may be also replaced. But listen, at the end of the day, you're playing the league. But Balaka we're gonna run because I need to get Kerry's input. Man. Yeah, man. Big up yourself. Thanks for the call as usual and for the support. Big up all of your friends them in Trelawney. Yeah, where's the Spicy Hill?
No,
Duncan's. All right. Big up Balaka. Live out of Duncan's.
All right, boss.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, man, Simon, anything else, you want to add? You have anything to say about what Balakar said, Kerry? Should we, at this time, call in a local team? There's no game, just for training. Be looking and saying that, okay, let's go for younger players. Like, if you're above a certain age, we're not going to call you. Or it really doesn't matter because there's a pride in a player just knowing that I was called. And that is important. Or we just look at, okay, let's go straight future, just young players only. How would you manage a situation like that?
Yeah, I think if it's a 20-something member squad, I kind of understand the point he's making in that because I kind of agree that we should be kind of trending towards younger players. But I don't think that necessarily means that you can't have a couple 30-something players if they're outstanding in the league. Because, these camps are not only to get young players used to the coaching that the coach does and trying to get them up to a higher standard in terms of understanding, but it's also to expose players that are doing well. So if you have a couple, it's not like the whole squad is old. I'm sure you have a lot of young players in there. So I don't have a problem with having a couple 30-somethings in there as well.
Yeah, awesome, Simon. And outside of that, anything you want to add? Because there are some players like Alex Marshall, Shanil Thomas, they are not here. And the word on the street is that Phillips and Bailey could be heading out for some trials as well.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You say when a squad is selected, it's our responsibility now to get behind the team, regardless of our capacity, fan, staff, whatever your role or position. So it's about giving them the most support we can so that they can execute to the best of their abilities. So the squad is picked, and for tomorrow and Thursday to be able to go out there and deliver and do their best, because it's going to be a constant thing. These camps are incredibly important because we know what lies ahead come March and the hectic period that will be. So that's basically the addition that I would have to say for that point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. And 2 days of training, which is tomorrow, Wednesday evening, and Thursday morning. Will the media be allowed to?
Yeah. For Wednesday, yes, absolutely. That will be at 4:30, so they'll have 15 minutes to be able to speak with Coach Hallgrimsson. So training will start just after that 15-minute window, and the session should be roughly an hour or so. So Coach Hallgrimsson will be there to take questions on the camp. So an exciting opportunity as well, because I think this will be the first time that the media will have an opportunity post Canada game to communicate locally.
Yeah. And then Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday training session is the morning, but the media is just for the opening day. Thursday is just the players and the staff that are there.
Okay. You have any question, Kerry?
But one thing I'd say is that Simon came to Florida and didn't even have the good manners to actually look me up. Just kidding. I actually was in Orlando when he came, so I missed him then. But yeah, good information. I think it's good. It's good for us to concentrate also on the local players. If we have breaks when we can actually try to bring them up to speed in terms of what we expect at the national level, it's always good.
Did you just say bring them up to Cavaliers, or did you say bring them up
to speed? Not SP. How do you spell speed? SPEED. SPEED. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So before you go, I mean, I'd love your input, but I want Kira to give us a quick overview on the all school team again, and next year where we didn't even make the final. This is like 2 years in a row where we have not made the final, and it has to do with the first game, because I think last time around, I think we went up late and lost the first game, and we lost the first game here again, but we won all the other games. Talk to us about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe it's sort of my bad luck as well, because the 2 years that I've been the coordinator of the tournament, we haven't won either year. So you can blame me partially for that. So yeah, last year they actually didn't lose. They actually tied a game in the group stage. And then this year they actually lost their first game in the group stage. And with the format being only the winner of each group that qualifies, that put them way behind the 8 ball, because the team that beat them, we didn't expect anybody to upset them. So they ended up getting to the final, and Jamaica ended up finishing third. So.
Okay, so the team that defeated Jamaica actually won the finals?
Yeah, they played against Inter Miami in the final. So it was 2-2 in regulation, and it went to penalties, sudden death penalties. So Rush ended up winning 5-4.
Fresh Guy is reminding me that we actually went to the finals last year and lost on penalties.
Yeah. Penalties to Inter Miami, right?
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, overall, what are your thoughts on this year? I know, last year the coverage was very, very, I think, high quality, in terms of we were able to see. I know even we had permission to stream it, so persons could have watched it. There was commentary and stuff. This year, that was not the case, but I know there's a bigger picture, which is the opportunity for these players to have college scouts look at them. How important is this to the growth and the expansion of the schoolboy football program, and creating a pathway for players to go to college and even to make it make it pro? I mean, how important is this sort of tournament? And so just talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say extremely important. I think that was pretty much the main reason that I decided to get involved. So we had almost 20 coaches present, and throughout the different days. We had a lot of interest in the players, in the Jamaican players, and also in the players from some of the other teams that were in the tournament. So I thought that was really good. We've seen this tournament in the past allow players to get scholarships. So that is a key. And so we're going to be following up on that to see, with whatever initial interest the coaches may have in the players, where it goes from there, who gets a scholarship, and things like that. So I thought from that perspective, it was really good. We had a seminar also on the Saturday with college coaches and with some former professional players and college players, who kind of talk to the players, about how you go about trying to get a college scholarship. And also, the dynamic between scholarship and pro, because, a lot of players in their mind, they're thinking pro. So how realistic is it? What are the pathways? What are some of the pathways to go to college and then go from college to pro? As we've seen with, players like Javian Brown and some of, other players that are in the national team now. So I think we did a good job in terms of exposing the players to coaches. Got a lot of interest from coaches. Some of the ones that, weren't even the ones that said they were coming, ended up coming, I think, because of word of mouth, or, being able to see some of the games that were recorded. So I think we did a lot of good work with, in terms of getting the players exposed to coaches. So that was the main goal.
Yeah. What are some of the success stories over the years that this has been done, even before your time? Like probably names from either the schoolboy football that would have benefited from this opportunity, or maybe some more unpopular player, but took this pathway and probably made it to the national team, or they would have done well. Who are some of these? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Javian comes immediately to mind, because Javian was here in the tournament when he was playing for Kingston College. And so he was scouted by USF, University of South Florida, which is a Division I school in Tampa. And so, he went to 2 years. I think he played 1 year, but he was attending school for 2 years. And obviously we know the story that he ended up getting drafted in MLS, ended up doing, really well, being able to, a lot of our players get drafted and when they go to MLS, they tend not to stick, or, they can't get playing time, or they go to USL. So I think Javian was an exception where he got drafted just after a couple of years in school. And that's what I told the players as well at the seminar, especially for those that are always thinking pro, because Javian was actually with us a couple of summers. That they would send, the KC people would send him up, and he actually played with my team when he was here. And I know his intention was to go pro right away. And so I think the fact that he went through college ended up being the right fit for him in terms of getting drafted and then going on to play well in terms of MLS and also in terms of the national team. I had players even before I was involved as a organizer. I had teams in the tournament as well. We had one player. I used to coach high school in Florida here at Hallandale, which the players don't really get a lot of exposure because they're from sort of a, not so well off background, and how the club soccer here is mostly pay to play. So I used this particular tournament before I got involved in the organization of it, actually just being able to expose players. One of our players, Ivan Gutierrez, actually got a Division I scholarship as well. So he went to the University of Louisville, and they actually saw him at the tournament. So not through club, not through anything else, but the tournament itself. They scouted him, and he was able to get a Division I scholarship. And then he went on to play USL as well. So a lot of those stories, I think we have to do a better job of tracking it, which is what I, since I've come into the organization of it, I've been trying to do that more, because a lot of players, I think, have gotten opportunities through the tournament, but we haven't done a great job of tracking it, just to kind of see, okay, of these players that are on this team, how many ended up getting a scholarship? Where did they go after school? What did they end up doing, either professionally in football or, professionally in something else? Because we know that the percentage of kids that end up getting a pro contract is pretty small. So while there are players that can go on that pathway directly to pro, you always want to have other options in mind, whether it's school, whether it's obviously using schoolwork to get football to get an education, and then also going from there, whether you want to go into a different career pathway or whether you do want to try to go professional in football. So I think we have to do a better job of tracking it, but I think we've had a lot of success stories over the years.
Okay, awesome. Simon, do you have any questions for Kiri on this? Because I have a couple more. Yeah, go ahead.
No questions, no, but I just do hope that there's more, the moral support from the diaspora as well whenever these come around as well, so that at least from the players' perspective, they understand the importance of the Jamaican community outside of the island. So I'm just hoping from a playing standpoint, they recognize the importance, and moving forward for those that actually do make it, as professionals and eventually for Jamaica, the importance that the diaspora is as well and what they can do for the country. So that was just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah. Here, because the next question I have is that a lot of these players that went, they are exiting school. It's not like they are going back to resit or to do exams. So should the assumption be that all of them they have already met the minimum requirement to attend college, and all they were doing is showing their talent on the field? So if selected, a college will say, okay, yes, you can come and join us because you have the requisite qualification. Is that the case? Or this is, okay, you have done well, so you need to go and do this and do this and do this. You have a year, and then after a year, we will take you. Or CASA ensures that all the players, like I said, meet a certain standard that they are fit for college if their play meets the standard of the coaches that are coming to watch them. How does it work?
I think it's more the latter than the former, because I think it's a bit of a mix. If you think about our team, so the team that the ISA team, the All-Star team from Jamaica, I think it's sort of a mixture in terms of those that are already well on the track. They have done SAT or ACT if schools require that. Because I think you do have some schools that have good programs in terms of preparing their players for playing overseas. I don't think that is I don't think that always happens. So I think there's a lot of schools, even some of the big schools, you'd be surprised, where I don't think we have a program that's in place. So when the players actually come here, that's some of the first questions the coaches are asking, and we actually make a profile for them to provide some of that information, so that when the coaches come to the games, they can see, okay, who has done what so far. And unfortunately, I would say it's not across the board where everybody has put in place everything that they need to do. So I'm not sure if that's so much a CASA responsibility. I think we try to help with that. But in terms of our school team from Jamaica, I think the schools have to do a better job. I'm not sure what role ISA plays in that, because I think it's probably the school's main responsibility. But when you're bringing a team up, you want to maybe consider some of those things, like bring players that are more eligible for,
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, is it that your purpose and ISA's purpose are different, or is it ISA or the school that whoever brings up the Jamaica team is to win the tournament, while the purpose of the tournament is to get players into college?
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned about the educational acumen of the players, while you're having the tournament hoping that they meet those standards so they can get in. So does it mean that probably leading up to the competition, there needs to be dialogue between the CASA Youth Classic organizers and ISA or the schools to say, listen, as a minimum, these players would have to have at least completed the SAT, ACT, or you understand me, or have this amount of CAPE and this amount of CSEC, so we know this is the one thing. It doesn't make sense for them, because it is just to play a game or to play some games, unless there are other scouts from USL and MLS teams that are also there watching them.
Yeah, I know. Well, from the CASA point of view, I know those conversations do take place. I don't want to speak on behalf of ISA, but I know sometimes it's difficult to choose a team ahead of time. So I think that's some of the things that they could probably be thinking about. Like, yes, winning the tournament is important, but we also want to make sure the players that come here, it's for the most part, college scouting showcase. There are USL coaches, because Inter Miami, for example, has a USL team. So some of those, scouts are here. They actually use a very young team, the Inter Miami team. So a lot of the players that just leave their U18 or U19 program, those are the players they tend to use in their USL team. So, that's a possibility for them to be scouted for that purpose. But for the main, in the main, that the tournament is a college scouting tournament. So, yeah, I think between CASA and ISA, and I think mostly internally with ISA, because, that should be their goal as well, I think. Whether it be ISA themselves or the schools, the specific schools, their goal should be, okay, yes, we want to win Manning Cup and the Costa Cup, but where are our players going to be in 5 years? Are they going to be college graduates? Are they going to be professional footballers? Or are we just saying we want them to win Manning Cup and the Costa Cup, and whatever happens, it's their responsibility after that. So yeah, I definitely think we need to do a better job, whether it be CASA, whether it be ISA, and whether it be the individual schools.
Yeah. Simon, let me ask, do they select two teams? Because there's the All Manning and All the Costa team, but isn't there like a next team that is selected that has those kids who have have a lot of subjects? I think they call it the All Scholastic. What?
All Scholastic, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So why wouldn't they use that team to play in the CASA tournament? Because those players, Simon, would have at least completed and have a few subjects under their belts. And yeah, All Scholastic. Why wouldn't those players go and represent? Because they also played before the all school game at the National Stadium a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I'm not sure the reason why, but I do think it's a conversation that if it's entertained by Keith Wellington, the president of ISA, he would probably say, it's an idea. So it wouldn't be surprised for future years, honestly. So as time progresses, I would expect it to continue to flourish in that light. But yeah, it's now that you brought it to a lot of viewers' attention, now they're going to be thinking what 2025 can be.
Mr. Wellington actually was here at the tournament. So I think maybe half of those conversations already happened. So we'll see what happens in the future.
In the future, yeah. But I mean, what about the talent on display, though, Kerry? I mean, because I see many of them were at that tournament. Actually, they are part of the squad that is going to Trinidad and Tobago. So that's one. What was the talent on display like? And then my next question is, and this is for both you and Simon, is this is probably just a pet peeve of mine where as it concerns the football. Like, how can you play schoolboy football and you're too old to play for your nation's under 20 team? Right. So tell me about the talent on display, and I'd love for both of you to answer that second part of the question.
Yeah, I think in terms of talent, it was really good. The team that won Rush Academy, I think maybe caught people by surprise because they were actually in the tournament last year. They didn't do too well, but it seems like they went out and recruited a lot of players. So they had players from Senegal, from Ghana, from Colombia, some really, really good players, including the player Mo that won the MVP. He's from Ghana as well. So really good players there. We already know the Inter Miami Academy has a lot of talented players. Our own Kobe Thomas, I think, finished as a third leading goal scorer. Jamaica team was actually very strong on paper. I think stronger than they were last year because we had, Burkett, which is a leading marksman in the Manning Cup. We had Kahim Dixon, who is a leading marksman in the Costa Cup. We had a lot of good players, Adrian Reed, Ronaldo Barrett. So a lot of those players, like you said, I think we had 6 or 7 players that were in the Jamaica team in the tournament that's off the Trinidad now with the U20's. So, and then obviously our local club teams, our normal, community teams, Plantation FC, Lauderhill. And then for the first time this year, we had Ingenious Elite, which is a team that plays in the adult league, and they brought a youth team as well. So overall, I think I was very impressed with the level, and I think the coaches were as well, because a lot of the times you see the focus on the Jamaican players, but there were actually a lot of coaches interested, even in some of the players, for example, from Ingenious Elite, which is a team that's never entered the tournament before. So I thought the talent level was good. Most of the games, except for a few, were really close and competitive. The Tobago team was another surprise because they've been in the tournament before, but usually struggle. They really did well. They won their first game when they played against Inter Miami, which was the game to decide who got to the final. It was 0-0 with 20 minutes to go. So that was really impressive from them. They've come a long way, I think. So overall, I thought that the talent on display was really good, and I think the coaches appreciated it.
Yeah. The second part of the question, Simon, you can begin with answering about players playing Manning and the Costa Cup, but are too old to play in the under 20.
Yeah, Mannings, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. You can't be 20 years old and play schoolboy football, whether it's Manning or the Costa Cup. You can't be the age of 20. So that's why I think it's very, very important that the information that persons get is so credible, instead of jumping to conclusions. So it all stems of the year that the Under-20 World Cup is. When is the Under-20 World Cup? 2025, not this year, 2024. So based on that, it is based on when you're born. So if you're born on January 1 or after January 1, 2005, then you are eligible to represent the Under-20s. If you're born in the year 2004, you're not eligible to represent Jamaica's Under-20 team in qualifiers. So that is where it comes to eligibility for the youth teams. There's an age and there's a time frame where you have to be born on or after a particular date to play in that particular age group competition when it comes to the international scene. So hopefully that provides clarity as to why perhaps you might not have seen a face in particular that might have done well in schoolboy football, but guess what? He was born in 2004. And that just
because it's so funny, because I believe, for example, like Kahim Dixon was so good last season. No U20s. This season, he's too old. I don't think he has played any youth football for Jamaica.
Not to my memory. I think he's October 2004, which means that he turns 20 this year, which means the World Cup in 2025, he would be turning 21 in that year. In that calendar year. So it just goes to show that thing. So that everybody's aware, you have to be born in the year 2005 or onwards, or after, to be able to represent the under 20 team in the upcoming qualifiers and even the World Cup itself next year in Chile.
Yeah. All right. Kerry, Simon, were there other Jamaicans outside of Kobe Thomas playing on other teams, or he was the only other Jamaican outside of the Jamaican team playing?
No, there was a bunch. I said Jason Gunnarsson at Anguilla from Rush Academy was a good player, right? So a very good player. He's a Colombian that was playing on the right wing. So yeah, first time I've ever seen him, and he was super impressive. So yeah, but yeah, there were a lot of Jamaicans because Lauderhill Lions, which is one of our club teams here, uses predominantly, I would say, Caribbean players. So I would say probably upward of a half their team probably represent players that have some kind of Jamaican heritage. And then Ingenious Elite is even more so. I would say probably almost the whole Ingenious Elite team was either players local players from here that have Jamaican heritage. And I think they also brought a few players that were actually from Jamaica in terms of like academy players that come up and kind of mix them with their team. So Ingenious Academy was almost all Jamaican. Lauderhill Lions was probably a half Jamaican. Plantation, more of a mixed team. And then you had the academies and then Tobago. So yeah, a lot of Jamaican players on about half of the teams.
Okay, so but I asked that question because I'm wondering if any was so impressive that they're saying, what, we need to take a look at this one for the U20 or maybe for the U17. That's why I asked that question.
I wouldn't go that far. Just based on what I saw, I wouldn't go that far. I don't think any of the players that I saw that I'm aware of that have Jamaican heritage would be, probably of higher quality than the ones that, for example, that are in this list to go to Trinidad. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, Simon, tell us a little bit now. I mean, the U20s after Trinidad and Tobago, 3 games. Lots of players who are playing domestic. A lot of them have actually played in the Premier League, but we see some transition from the U17 team. I hear Dixon, Molina, Joshua Grant. I think there's
Adrian Reed,
Ronaldo Barrett,
Jamani
Bell, Dylan John. Right, those are players. I think those 6 players were in the U17 team. And then we also see Kobe Thomas, who was from the previous U20. So at least there's some consistency. Talk to us about yeah.
Yeah, so Coach John Wall highlighted that this Trinidad camp was imperative for the players.
Dylan John not in the team, sorry.
No. So the players apply their trade in North America and also domestically, why this camp was so important. Of course, it's a very difficult time because we're in the middle of January or late January. So not all clubs, for example, in North America would be able to release their players, which is understandable. It's a critical point in the season. But we do have a player that plies his trade in England, in Kyron Horsley-McKay, who's at Millwall. So that will be a very, very good component to the squad as well. He's the only UK-based player within the current roster. A lot of players, as you made mention, were in the domestic camp last week and also parts of the weekend as well. You mentioned the consistency with the under-17 players as well. So 3 matches, 2 against Trinidad under-20, and 1 should be against a TT Pro League club. That club is still to be announced. But the first game will be on Thursday. It's supposed to be 4 p.m. TT time, which I believe would be 3 o'clock Jamaica time, but the venue is still to be revealed by the TTFA. But the first game will be Thursday, so the 25th to 28th, February 1. So 3 games to be able to get into the rhythm, and I'm pleased for it because it prepares yourself for send kids to know what the rudiments will be like on during the qualifiers itself. You get into that routine of arriving to a venue, the warm-up, the countdown mannings that we're familiar with in getting into that habit as well. So it's very, very important.
With Patrick Beckles.
The great Patrick Beckles from Barbados. Yeah. And the team is being in an environment where they're having some matches. And I know John and Rudolph Austin as well, a great opportunity for Coach Rudolph Austin as well, because he would have played against some of these players in the squad as well, and can even share a little bit of the rivalry with Trinidad. Why is it so
that's so strange to hear that the assistant coach plays against some of these players week in, week out. Only I don't know if that's a compliment to the coach.
Yes.
Or it's a disservice to football that we're in such a situation. I don't know how to view it, but I think there's some goodness in that. But notable absentee is Romain Blake.
Yeah, I believe it's a situation where the club has, as I made mention earlier, don't release the players. That's the reality of the situation. Not all the clubs are going to be releasing at this time. Hope and hope for the best for St. Kitts for the qualifiers itself. But January is a tough time to be able to get players in. Some clubs will agree, while some will say no, understandably so.
Yeah, let me look at this. Is Gio Headley from Portmore in it?
He was, but not anymore. So he's been replaced by Tyrese Gow. Tyrese Gow is now in it. Akeem, the goalkeeper, Bernard.
Yes, he's out.
Right, so Dijon Davis comes in for him, the St. George's College goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So those were the two changes.
Yeah.
To the
No,
squad.
man. I mean, if the coach knew that if they want a game in Trinidad, I can just call right now and set up the game. So they just need to tell me. But maybe they have somebody. Brando, I can set up the game, man. I control a club over there.
You can call Andre to check on things.
Yeah, I can call Andre, but I can also call Dexter. I probably can talk to Defense Force. I don't know, but you guys let me know. Maybe they're already planning, but if not, I can talk to Dexter. I can send his number. We can work out that. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, because and let me just help people, because sometimes people see this and the whole idea, you see it. I told you, because it's just UK players and local players, and where are the English-based people? It is not an official window. It is just a training squad. So this is not don't walk away. And that's what I wanted to explain, Simon, because maybe they will listen to you, because people walk away from this and say, look at the squad that we're taking to the under-20 qualifiers, when this is just a training squad to play a couple of games, right? And I think sometimes we need to speak slowly so that the people can hear and understand clearly. And I know that I have a lips and I speak fast, and Kerry speak with the Florida twang. So maybe they need to hear from you who went to Kingston College in England and you never completed Oxford. So maybe
You told me I shouldn't comment on that whole Oxford thing, so I'm going to leave it alone.
But just to let people know, Simon, that it's a training squad. That is what it is.
Correct. It is a training squad, and as I've made mention earlier, and you made mention about the international window, it's very difficult to get in players that ply their trade outside of Jamaica during this time frame. So let us use this opportunity to get behind the squad that is, of course, largely domestic based, and let them strut their stuff. Let's see who can, because at the end of the day, the cream rises to the top. So let's hope that we can be able to leave this tour of Trinidad with lots of progress, and we can be able to have some persons that hold up their hands and say, I should be in that squad for St. Kitts and Nevis. So it is a grand opportunity for them. So I'm looking forward to this eagerly, so that we can be able to see more from this, because there were some great signs of impression during the camp at the Captain Horace World Center of Excellence last week. So, we want to see more of that nature, as well as they have training sessions together, and that being in a camp environment and being more tightly knitted, team meetings, meals, training, being in that habit, it can only force them to grow together. And that's what this time together will help as well.
Yeah. Question for Simon: Was Bernard in the original squad but not available? Also, was Gordon from Mona part of it?
Gordon, not that I'm aware of. Bernard, I believe, he was supposed to be part of that match in the States. He was supposed to be part of the All-Star game in the States. And as you know,
Oh,
to enter the
all right.
United States, as Kerry is fully aware, you need a US visa to be able to enter it. And whenever you give the US embassy your passport, they don't give it back same day. It takes time to get back your passport. So
Right, right. Because some of the Mona players, I think they got there late. I think a couple of them I think they missed the first game or they got there the day of the first game, right, Kerry?
Yeah, Denzel McKenzie, I know, started the last game, but he wasn't available for the others because he came late, right?
Okay. All right. I mean, but on top of so it's lots of football, right? I know the under 20 camp maybe overshadow carry the under 17 US North American based camp that is happening this weekend. Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
right. So go ahead.
say again.
Is Cypress Park?
Cypress Park, yeah, in Coral Springs. So we've had a couple camps with this age group before. So essentially, we're taking a look at some of the better players that we saw the last time. So this is essentially the players that are going to be eligible for the next U17. So just starting along the process of identifying players in the States, and not only in the States, because we've had players from other places as well, from Canada and from England, that have actually attended the camps. So we're looking forward to seeing some of those players again, and some newer players as well, as we kind of we're pretty much in the process now of identifying the players. And then once everything speeds up in terms of the JFF after the election and all of that, I think we can think about preparation. So we're still in the phase where we're actually identifying the players.
And I mean, I think this is tremendous, Simon. I don't know if you know all, because what I love about this is the amount of players who have been coaches. So let me give you some of the names, right? So you have Altimon Freddie Butler. Mm-hmm. You have Carlton Simmons, who is battled at Vallejo Academy. Is there Roger Thomas, which is Kobe's father, who is a part of that. Richard Edwards, Shartman, who is a part of that. Andre Waugh is also a part of that. Boris Johnson is a part of that. Leon Garden is a part of that. Kerry James, the man himself, is a part of that. Linval Hyatt, a part of that. Hopeton Rogers, Jamaican living in the States, he also a part of that. So I think that's also good that we see so many coaches in the diaspora coming together to work something like this, right? And I just think it is one of the ways that going forward that we have to look at doing. And I think if we can have this in England, like I was saying a couple weeks ago, probably in London and in the Birmingham area, just to start to kind of have the same kind of networking of Jamaican coaches and persons involved in football, to bring together groups of kids of Jamaican heritage to basically get them to believe that you're part of us from that early age. It widens the pool that we'll have for U20's and for senior team years down the road. So I think this is a tremendous thing that is happening. I don't know how you feel about it, Simon.
Yeah, it's something that you and I discussed in December. Kerry wasn't here, but now that he's here, we can discuss. We're thinking about, Kerry, the having different bases. So like in the States, you look at Tri-State, East Coast, something in Florida as well with the large Jamaican communities, something in Birmingham, London, Manchester, Yorkshire, where that the hotbed of persons of Jamaican heritage are, so that there is that connection. One, they feel, growing up with a Jamaican culture too. And it's just like in a funnel, in a sense, where nobody falls through the cracks, so to speak. So it just makes sure that all aspects are covered. You go to Canada, you have Toronto, you have Ottawa, different areas where hotbed Jamaican communities are, so that all aspects are covered. Argentina just opened a headquarters in Miami quite recently as well, and Mexico. So other countries are having headquarters, bases, just a small office, so that they know where their diaspora is. There's no stone left unturned.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, because I actually did listen to the show where y'all were discussing that, and I think for sure it has to expand past this. So I guess it's just the infrastructure of how that happens, right? Because management was saying that this was essentially started with a group of coaches that have, Jamaican coaches that happen to be coaching here. So if we can do something similar, absolutely, you're right. England, Manchester, London, Birmingham, maybe different regions in the US, maybe one in Canada. So I definitely think you're right there. It does have to expand past this. I think it's a good start, what we're doing. But I definitely agree that, like, if you're trying to really make sure that nobody falls between the cracks, it's good to have a camp in Florida where you're saying, okay, if you can make it here, come out and show your wares. But if we can do it where it's regionalized and players maybe don't have to travel as far, that would be super. So I definitely agree with that perspective.
Yeah, because I kind of, took it a little further, because I am saying that this group of players could actually play games as a Jamaica team. Because they could even play in the CASA tournament, just as an example, as an invitational team. When they have BMO tournaments, they could participate as the Jamaica team. It's just that it's based in North America. And the same thing would happen in England. So those kids would not have to come to CONCACAF to play in like the U15 tournament, because how practical it is to bring 4 or 5 kids from the United Kingdom to play in a CONCACAF U15 tournament. That is like probably 2.5 weeks. And it's not a world tournament because they even invite clubs to it. Why wouldn't we find, like someone was saying, there's an Ian Rush tournament in England. Why not see if they could participate in there and call it Jamaica Select? Jamaica Select 1 in Jamaica, Jamaica Select 2 in the US, and Jamaica Select 3 in the UK. Now, when you come to U17, you would have like 60 players. You would have 20 in Jamaica, 20 in the US, 20 in probably between London and Birmingham to select from, which I think becomes easier for people to absorb, to take in, because they would have known that there was a U15. And that kind of, I think, makes the transition, because I do understand the sentiment of people who reside on the island when they see an influx of talent. I understand how they feel. I understand they feel like something is being taken from us and this should be ours. I understand that feeling. So maybe we need to help to cushion. We need to understand people's feelings, that it's real and they feel like something is taken. So could this be a way to at least alleviate some of the emotional, I don't know if pain is the right word, but the emotional effects?
Yeah, I agree with that. Because even if you look at some of the players that are in our senior national team, I think once we select the ones that are, really committed to Jamaica, then I think people understand that Bobby Reid, for example, is very Jamaican. So he may speak with an accent, but he's very Jamaican. He's fully committed to the cause. And I think when we do it at the youth level and we kind of identify these players, I think people will come to understand that a lot of these players are very Jamaican. They're culturally very Jamaican, especially the ones that are sort of second generation Jamaican, where their parents, probably grew up in Jamaica. A lot of them are very Jamaican. And so I do agree that kind of cushioning that feeling, because I understand that feeling as well. And I don't think it should be at the point where we think it's either or. It's pretty much just enhancing the program. And I know some of those discussions have already taken place in terms of, even from the CASA point of view of having some of those teams play in the tournament, of playing in sort of as a Jamaican team, diaspora team, and having those opportunities to play games. So I know a lot of those discussions have taken place. I just think once everything gets rolling from the federation, we know a lot of things going on with the federation right now with the election and everything. But I think once that's out of the way, then I think you'll see some of those things start to roll.
Yeah. Kerry, there's a question for you. Yoshi, somebody's asking if Yoshi the cut. Yeah.
Yeah. So this camp is mainly for 2008s and 2009s. Yoshi, I believe, is a 2010. So he came to our camp for the year level down. So he came to the U13 camp last year. So he would be 14 this year. So he's a little bit younger than the rest of these players that are going to be in this particular camp. But yeah, he's one for the future. I've seen him a couple of games outside of when he came to our camps. I went to go watch him. He plays for Western Academy. So they play MLS next. So I watched him, for example, against Inter Miami at the end of last year. He scored and they beat them 1-0 with his winning goal. So yeah, so Yoshi is definitely a talent that we're tracking.
Man, there's this midfielder, man, that no fear midfielder. I think he's at Inter Miami as well. You know him very well. He was part of that camp, one of the better CDNs.
Kai.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how he didn't get a look in the U15. He's one for the future, man. Hopefully he continues to develop and grow. But there's also a next player from Atlanta. I think he plays on the wing. I think he has an Indian Singh is his name.
Yeah, Devraj
Singh. Yeah, very, very, very talented young players. There are some good talent out there in the Simon. You should go over and watch them, you know.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Next time he's in Florida, we'll link up and I'll bring him to see some of the players.
Oh, check it out. He could be there next week. He travels to those places quite often. He's a frequent flyer. Yeah. So, but that's it. But and I brought up the whole 3 eras because after Cameroon's loss, Samuel Eto'o came out with a very what can I say? Very
passionate,
aggressively passionate statement, right? And of course, my phone was flooded with people. You see what Eto'o is saying? That's why I'm telling you, man, you and your friends them talking nonsense. We need to be like Samuel Eto'o, all right? Because, he was talking about Roger Miller would play like 3-4 games a day for Cameroon, and he would do the same. I believe Daniel Johnson would do that. I believe Bobby Reid would do that. I think the players that we have, I think Connor Boyce Clark would love to do that. I think Dexter. So I don't think we have that problem. And I also believe that there's a closer link between our diaspora and us in Jamaica. I think there's a connection between, for most places in the States, in fact, I don't think Jamaica feel like you're a foreigner. Like, because it's so close. Like, you're in Florida, a man will say, Bridget, you go like a foreigner there, Florida you live. That's the whole idea. Like, that's not real foreign. It's like what we have here. So if you want to talk about it in foreign, tell us about Oklahoma and Utah and Alaska. That's real foreign. Florida is not real foreign. Miami is not real foreign. Queens is not. The Bronx is not real foreign. So Jamaicans kind of have that idea. So I don't think we have this, the same kind of feeling like a person born in England who is of Cameroonian descent.
Or born in France, the Cameroonians.
Yeah. You understand me? And the same thing I feel about England. I think for the most part, because like I told people, Dishon Bernard, for example, spoke about spending a lot of time in Jamaica in St. Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Great parish.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And speaks about his grandma's cooking and everything.
Yeah. But guess what? Because he wasn't playing any football in Jamaica, people would not know Mikel Antonio would come to Jamaica and go look for his family in Stony Hill.
That's right.
This is before they started playing
Yeah.
for the national team. Bobby Reed, these guys were coming to Jamaica. Ethan Pinnock was coming to Jamaica with his father.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? But because they were not playing for Jamaica, people felt like there was this big disconnect. So I don't think like the Samuel Eto'o conversation applies to us.
No,
I think Samuel is just frustrated. And so sometimes when there's frustration based on the team not doing well, there's going to be targets. So it's surprising. Isn't he still the head of the federation? It's surprising to hear those kind of comments from the head of the federation. But I guess passion, like you said, will make you say some things. So yeah, I don't know if that's really fair to the players. I don't know if that's the reason that they're not doing well. So yeah, I think it's just the passion of things going wrong and trying to find a scapegoat.
Go ahead, Simon, because I don't think Eto'o was all that great for Cameroon when I watched him. I don't know. Maybe I didn't watch them enough. Tell me about when I think about Cameroonian football, I don't think about Eto'o.
Think about Roger Miller.
Yeah, and BK, those guys. And what's the captain name? Yeah, what's the captain name that played centre back?
Rigobert Song.
Is Rigobert Song?
Is he the coach now? I think.
Yeah, he's a coach, right? And he used to be in that World Cup with Roger Miller. Yeah, that's the people. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, you'd have to go back to like 2002 World Cup where Samuel Eto'o played, scored against Saudi Arabia, but a national team shirt, you could say that's one of his brightest moments, probably winning Africa Cup of Nations that year. But I get your point, but I wouldn't say there's anything to parallel with Jamaica. Different scenario, different everything. I don't think putting Jamaica in this conversation is even necessary, to be frank.
Yeah.
I don't see any similarities at all.
Exactly. I just think like there's a deeper, remember, there's a deeper connection, I believe, that lies between us and the people outside of Jamaica who are Jamaicans. You know, so, yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, but as Simon, I mean, every second he's going lower and lower. So I don't know if he's trying to say, man, you need to release it because I'm going to disappear after our wives.
Okay, no, another 5 minutes is good, man. No problem.
Yeah, but Coach Al Grimson also did his interview on Sportsmax, very well done, about his plans for 2024. And looking forward to the Nations League games in March. I don't know, man. I'm just petrified with the election delays. I wonder if this will complicate the lead up to it, seeing that, I don't know. I just hope that it doesn't interfere in the process of preparation for the Nations League. The good thing is that the MLS players, the Damian Lowe, the Andre Blake, the Corey Burke is back to finish physiotherapy. He was out in Florida doing winter training, I think they call it. Yeah, with his club, with Red Bulls. So he's back out there. Romario Williams. So the players who were who are normally in the squad are either in preseason and ready, and those in England have been playing consistently. I think the only concern we have is that on the West Ham website, Mikel Antonio's situation looks to have been pushed back to the middle of February before he returns.
Go ahead, Kerry.
Yeah, I was going to say, which is a concern given that Shamar misses the first game and oh my God,
Demarai, yeah.
A lot can happen between now and then, a lot can happen. So we just keep track of things, because 2 months we could have a completely different conversation. Who might be informed club-wise? Who would have thought, October last year, perhaps persons might not have been speaking about Casey Palmer, but he's doing extremely well at Coventry, scoring goals from outside the box, having a good build-up play. Now Coventry are in a playoff position in the championship. So, in terms of personnel, we don't get worried. For me personally, I just think we track the progress of how they're doing club-wise. Yeah, the MLS players pre-season now, March to start season. Whereas for the players who play their trade in Europe, they're approaching the end of the season form, so they'll be in tip-top shape as well. So, long may continue. May they continue being excellent at what they do, and injury-free in that time frame as well. And I'm sure we'll have a quality unit as always for March.
Yeah, Kerry, anything?
Yeah, looking forward to the big games. Both the Nations League and the Copa. Hoping, like you said, I have the same thoughts that hopefully the election doesn't overshadow anything or doesn't affect anything in terms of the actual national team. But yeah, looking forward to seeing the players. Keeping an eye on Mikhail's situation at West Ham especially because of the suspension for Shamar and for Demarai. But yeah, looking forward to tracking the players to see how they're doing at the different clubs. Once the American, the US players start getting into action. And then looking forward to March.
Yeah. All right, we have Brian. They call him Man of Steel, but for the purpose of this show, we'll call him Man of Sponge. All right. Brian, you were saying to us that earlier that Arnett Gardner's had a right because of the notice that I think with so I don't know if you know what happened, Simon and Kerry, but there should have been a doubleheader in Montego Bay in the JPL games, and I don't know, but the clubs insisted that they would not go. I think Simon has to leave. So Simon, tell it just before you run. Just I know the people know Reggae Boys Commentary, but I know you also have a second channel that you do as well. Yeah, man. So shout out the channel and yeah, we're not hearing you.
Sorry. So it's called Sports City and basically gives updates on other Jamaican national sports teams, what they're up to, lacrosse, rugby, cricket, and the strides that they're making as well. For me, it's all about Jamaica and how our national teams are doing. So if you want some insight on that, hop over to Sports City. As usual, thanks very much for having me on, and stay in touch as always.
Yeah, man. All right. Thank you, Simon. I like the merch. Reggae Boys Commentary. You have to put you have to there you go. You have to make sure that people can see it. All right, thank you, Simon. People, come on, put your hands together for let me when persons need when they're talking nonsense, we whoosh them off. But guess what? We're awarding you the victory. Good show today. There we go. All right. Sir Brian, yes, I know you have long wanted to be on a panel with the famous coach in the Florida area, the one who has the most clips of mesmerizing players, though we haven't seen any full games. Kerry James, he's here live in living colors. What say you, Brian?
Yo, mate. Yo, big up Kerry. Yo. So yeah, regarding the point I was making earlier. All right, so here's the thing. So the PFJL is responsible for marketing and commercialization of the Premier League. I think one of the ways in which they do that is through televised games and betting rights and stuff like that. And so they always try to maximize revenue in that way, and they're trying to build a product locally too, where persons can come out and enjoy the game and have fun and in a good atmosphere and stuff like that. But I think sometimes the thought process that goes into some of these activities and ideas, I don't know if they're as well thought out as they could be. So they decided, and so in this instance now, Arnett Gardens has a home game
against
Mullines. Arnett Gardens has a stadium that can host both televised games and regular games. Now, the purview of home teams, is to try and maximize revenue when they are the home team. So they want to keep their matches at their home and sell tickets and do whatever marketing they need to do and control those variables for themselves. Now, in an effort to commercialize the league, the PFJL may want to host specific games at specific venues, i.e., taking games to the Captain Sports Complex, which is now being approved to play games recently. So I think a part of that comes a two-way street. So they would have to, because Arnett Gardens has a right to play their home game wherever they choose, as long as that field is approved. Now, if you want to take the club's home game, or if you want to offer them, or whichever word you want to use, for them to go and play at Catching Hall, you first need to speak to the club and ask their permission and get their approval. You cannot go ahead and decide that you want to take the team's home game from Kingston, bring it to Montego Bay, and expect that they shouldn't have anything to say about that. I don't think that's fair. Now, I hear the argument that other persons have that says other teams would have come to Arnett Gardens or to Stadium East or to wherever to play home games there for television purposes. The issue and the difference in this case is those teams don't possess the capabilities to play their home games at their home venue, or they choose to accept to play their home games at another venue. Now, that is their right, and they can choose to do that. But if I have a stadium and I have a home game and I want to play my home game at my stadium for my fans, there is nothing that the PFJL can do to say I must take my home game to Montego Bay or to wherever else it is that they must take their home game, even if it's Stadium East. Now, earlier in the season...
You're muted, Brian.
Yeah, sorry. So earlier in the season, there is a situation. So there were two games scheduled to be played. So there was a fixture between Mount Pleasant and Waterhouse that is to be played at Draxall. And the PFJL is saying that because of their obligations to host televised game, they needed a doubleheader. So on that same day, Mullines United was supposed to host Lime Hall in a home game for Mullines United. And the PFJL made a request, but let me not say a request. They made a decision to take the home game of Mullines and play it at Draxall as a doubleheader and tell Mullines that that game is their home game. Now, whenever a team is a home team, there are certain things that they have to take care of. So, for example, if a home game is played at Arnett Gardens between Arnett, let's say a doubleheader has been played and Arnett is playing Tivoli in one and let's say Cavaliers playing Moby in another game at Arnett, the home teams have certain responsibilities. So they have to take care of security, sound, ambulance, ball boys, refreshment, those stuff. So the home clubs would collaborate that however they decide to. And then, that at the end, if there is a profit to be made, then they have some arrangement for that profit to be shared. So they share costs and profit. Now Draxall is the home venue for Lime Hall. You take up Mullines to go and play a home game at Draxall. They have to travel, go down there, and they have to equally make arrangements for as a home team should. They are saying that was in an effort to commercialize or market the league and to play televised game and stuff. And then when the return leg is coming around now, you are telling the same team in Kingston that they must travel to Lime Hall to Draxall again to play an away game when you took their home game against whatever objection they had and held it down at Draxall. I'm just saying those things, when in the public eyes, it come across like the town teams them just want to have them own way and whatever the case is. But I'm saying the issue is, one, the communication, and two, the manner in which things are being dealt with. And I'm saying in this whole sphere where PFJL is not by and large taking on the games that they used to do last season, you know. It's a situation now where the clubs have to bear the responsibility to host games, save and except in the playoffs. So I'm saying there needs to be more communication and collaboration because I'm telling you, if this conversation would have been held earlier with all the parties involved, we would not have gotten to this position because Arnett would have outlined their position that them want to play their home game at Arnett Gardens and them don't want to go to Mobile. And everybody involved would have been aware and know what the pros and the cons are. And truth be told, you know, maybe a compromise could have been met and you say, yo, and Arnett could have yielded and go. But at the same time, if them choose not to go, I don't think they're in the wrong. And the way in which the PHL persons them communicate them stuff, it just seems awkward and weird. And why it's so awkward too is because the PFJL is a body made up of 14 directors who represent each of the Premier League clubs. So I don't know the reason why them need to be going through all of this if they are communicate internally and, you know, take out them ego and just make good sense prevail for one of a better term. Because man is man, to travel from because remember, you know, and the truth is, you know, if Montego Bay or any club from down west have a home game at town, them can equally choose that they want to play for them home game at Mobile too, you know, and nobody can tell them that they must come to town, you know. When them choose to come to town, it's because they are making that choice. Wherever that choice is derived from, that's their own purpose.
All right, I've listened to you, so I don't know if you have a question, but my one question is then, so the operators of the league should not have any say in because they have signed a contract to have television game, and you're saying that they should not have a choice, having made a deal with the TV station to broadcast
You're talking the PFJL?
Yes.
Yes, them should have a choice. That choice should come from collaboration with the clubs. So, Mannings, the choice cannot be you come and say, hey, Cavalier, you have a home game today on that Mobile. When Cavalier have a stadium. You can't do that, Mannings, man.
All right.
Equally, them should come and say, Lion, go play a stadium is today. Because we have to sell games and televise games. No, Mannings, man. It can't be that way. Me, I say the clubs them have to agree to that.
What I'm saying that if Mobile supposed to play Mount Pleasant, right, and they say that okay, we're gonna play the doubleheader at Arnett Gardens because that same night Arnett and Cavaliers playing, you are saying that Mobile and Mount Pleasant should make a choice not to go.
I'm saying that no, not Mount Pleasant.
Yeah,
I'm saying Mobile as your home team.
No, so Mobile,
Mannings, man. Mobile. Who is the home team? Who is the home team?
It don't matter. It can
yes, it matters, Mannings, man.
No, let me finish. It can be either Mobile or it can either be Mount Pleasant. So whether the game is supposed to be played at Draxall or it's supposed to play at the Westport Park, the league organizer says, listen, this has to be one of from before, no, because remember they have the TV fixtures. They just don't select the venue. So when that comes up, they say, okay, it's a big derby. Tivoli versus Arnett. So they are going to play at 7. We are going to bring your game for the 5 o'clock because normally the Monday night game are double-header games. You're saying that those two teams should say, we're not traveling to Kingston.
No, Mannings, I'm not saying that. I'm saying those two teams, well, I'm saying whichever team is a home team have a choice to say, I do not wish to go to Arnett Gardens because I, Mobile United, want to play my game at Westport Park so my Mobile fans can come and watch me and I have my home court advantage. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with that. And the PFJL must go find the next game to play Monday night to suit their own needs.
Brad, I think that is going to run the league into problems.
Mannings, what I'm saying to you now, equally, I'm saying Mount Pleasant or Mobile can also agree that, yes, we will go to Kingston and play our home game. But go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Now, I am thinking the stance that Arnett has taken, or whomever took that stance, if other clubs were to take that stance, it is going to bring the league the sponsorship is going to be messed up. Remember, if my understanding is right, the PFJL give all of these clubs monies every single month, close to $1 million every month to help them, which is part of them scheduling their games. Why
Man
they
is
don't?
man.
Yeah,
Man is man.
explain it to me.
All right. Hear me, I say.
I need to hear from Kerry because I don't just
You
want
see the details. You see the details of this. Me sponsorship and money. Me talk to you about that half year.
Oh, sorry, I didn't tell you that you were live on here when you came
Yeah,
on.
man. I'm aware. I'm aware. But man is. Me I tell you thing. Let's to be truthful. Me I tell you.
I want to hear what Kerry has to say.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so obviously I don't know as much about this as Man of Steel does. But I would have thought that the PFJL would have to have some kind of authority, because I think I'm kind of leaning more towards Man is Man, that if they don't have the authority to schedule games, then how do you run a league like that? I thought it was. I don't know what agreement PFJL has with the actual teams in terms of the scheduling of the games.
Here, as a matter of fact, the PFJL cannot schedule games. It's the JFF Competitions Committee that schedule games.
Mm-hmm.
So then what is the PFJL role then? Nothing?
Marketing and commercializing of the league.
Okay.
But marketing is the scheduling of games is part of marketing.
Yeah.
Hey.
Because you want to have attractive games for the sponsors that you're getting, so that they get their money's worth. So the next time they come and they pay you more for the TV rights. So,
that's what I thought initially.
Yeah.
Until one day I had a conversation with a person who shall remain nameless, and them tell me that would be subject to match fixing.
To match fixing?
Yes. Them say that the JFF is competitions committee or department, how we call them, is the entity which is responsible for scheduling games in an unbiased way. And
but it can be in an unbiased way, because they're trying to get certain games on TV.
Yeah. No, but I'm telling you that the JFF competitions committee is not concerned with who get televised game or not.
Oh, I see.
Kerry, I had the same view, like I said, until I was informed that is not.
Right. Listen what I'm saying. Tivoli and Arnett are supposed to play 2 times for the season.
Yes.
If I say I want this Tivoli and Arnett games to be part of my double header at Stadium East, though it would have been Arnett Gardner's home game, but because Cavaliers are also going to get a TV game for the first time against Harborview, let's use a Monday night for that. How is that match fixing?
Man is man. Man is man.
I'm trying to find out.
Man is man. You want to disagree? I'm telling you what I was told. But I'm saying to you, man is man. I'm saying to you, Bossy, home team can choose to play their match at them venue. So if the PHL say them want to play double at Stadium East, and Arnett or Waterhouse or whoever say my field is approved and I want to play my home game at my home field, that is their right. Equally, Mount Pleasant and Mobile, that is their right too. To say I want to play all my home games at Westport Park.
I think there's a problem. Anyway, all right, Kerry. I mean, I don't know what you're going to.
I don't see it. I don't know. I don't see it as match fixing, because I've been part of running tournaments before, including this tournament that just passed. And so, for example, if I say the ISA team is a big draw in terms of the fans, so I want the ISA team to play majority of games that are late so that people come and watch them. Is that match fixing?
Yeah, Kerry, but equally, the team when them indigenous, me tell you, say, they are being unfairly treated because you make them play all the game early, and them things that them deserve a right to play game late too.
All right, but Brian, but they do that. Do you know they try to schedule Tottenham home game and Arsenal games at separate times, and especially big games? You're not going to see Liverpool, Tottenham, and Arsenal, Man City play in London on the same day at the same time.
Man, that's why you hear, for example, Jurgen Klopp complain that they get a lot of games that are the early games after the international break. The reason that they're putting Liverpool as the early game is to separate them for TV reasons from the rest of the games. So it's not fair to Liverpool necessarily, but for the bigger commercialization reason, that's why they do those things. So that you could say is match fixing, because it's not an advantage to Liverpool to play at the early, a bunch of early games when everybody else is playing games that are later where they have more time to prepare.
Yeah, but Kerry, all right. So I agree with that. But look on it away too.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a team game, maybe Arnett Garden thinks when them play home game, them can make $3 million. And if you carry them go play, no matter how much TV rights watch, them not going to get $3 million. What you go and tell them, say?
But
that they must travel to Mobile to go and play because all on the Mannings, the people them not interested in no televised game. They want to play a home game so they can make money.
Really?
But there has to be an agreement between the teams and whoever is marketing the league and whoever is scheduling the games, because the bigger picture is a lot of the money that the PFJL gives to the teams is because of the marketing of the league and the ability to play these games. So that's why I figured that there must have been some kind of an agreement between them and the teams to say, okay, we're going to have this ability to
move no such games. Agreement.
Oh, there's no such agreement. Okay.
There is no such written agreement that says, I'm going to give you money let me say it that way. There's no such agreement that says that the club agree that them will facilitate televised game by and large because they're going to get financial revenue from it.
All right. So what you're saying?
There are some clubs who just go along with the schedule and stuff. But I'm saying to you that I don't know of such agreement that is written.
Let me ask you this. So, say Arnett Gardens and Mullines decided to go to Catherine Hall for the game. Wouldn't the league provide your transportation?
What is one?
No, since that Mullines, it would have been Mullines, Arnett Gardens home game. You're asking them to travel.
What you should do is ask somebody from the PFJL that question.
Yes, don't ask you that.
Don't ask me that. Ask somebody from the PFJL that. And when Mobile travel come to town, come play a match, ask them if them give them money for travel.
All right, the other thing is that, so when it is my home game and you move it to Draxall, so they move Cavaliers home game to Draxall for the purpose of TV, 1 o'clock. Who is responsible for the ambulance and those things and the security? Is
Cavalier and the team will play second as them home game. Both are the home teams. So if I double it up,
even if you don't play at your home venue, you still have to pay those costs where the PFJL and they don't give you any money for it.
All right.
This don't sound right. It's just like Arsenal to play at London instead of the Emirates.
No, man. So hold on, the money's man. Hold on. So the agree. Money's man. I don't want to talk the figures in funny. Yeah, all right. But let me take it away. Yeah. So
let me just say your life on here, though, so be careful.
No, man. So if two teams are playing, like let's say them pick two teams. Let's say them pick Arnett and Tivoli to go and play at Stadium East as home teams. And them go and play Cavalier and Mobile. Let's just say that. And them, those two are away teams.
How the revenue is split?
There is a what would I say now? The PHL provides an amount to assist with the hosting of the game. The amount that is provided cannot even rent the stadium.
So who pay for the rental of the stadium though?
One is bad. All right. If the stadium east or to stadium, for stadium east, there is some. I'm sorry to put it lightly. Me not answer that one. Yeah.
All right.
But let's all right. So all right. Take out stadium east and take out stadium east. Let's say the match play on it. So let's say two teams that play Arnett Gardens as home teams, the PFJL provides a subsidy to both teams, but the subsidy what them provide is not enough for rent the venue, no matter which venue you use.
All right. So just follow me, right? If Cavaliers were supposed to play at Stadium Eves, against Harborview, but because Mount Pleasant and Limeall have a game, the JPL says, okay, big game.
This game to Limeall, to Jackson.
No, yeah, move Cavaliers are gonna move your game against Harborview
to Jackson
for 1:30, and then the other game, because those are going to be the Sunday TV games.
All right.
Cavaliers, this Cavaliers home game. So they get whatever money, but it's not sufficient to cover all the costs. But they collect like, say, $100 at the gate for the double header.
Yeah.
Does Cavaliers get a part of that money along with the other home team, whether it be Limeall or Mount Pleasant?
Okay. So in that instance, all right. So in that instance, both the home teams will have to collaborate as to how them go and determine what is shared. So the home teams them can decide that both of us will share costs and both of us share revenue. Or them can say
like Mount Pleasant will say, we will cover all the costs and we collect all the revenue.
Them can't do that. You're crazy man is one. That's not a Mount Pleasant to do a play. Them can't do that. But hold on. Yeah, but for example, no, but all right. Truth be told, them could say that, you know, let's say the team where them are going to play as home team will decide that them don't want to have any associated costs. You see me? So Mount Pleasant can decide that yes, we're going to host. We provide ambulance, we provide refreshment, we provide ball boys, we provide match ball, all them stuff. And at the end of the day, we accept the loss or the gain. Or both teams can decide that we go and the cost for the sound is 100,000 and we go and share it. The cost for the venue is 50,000, we go and share it, etc., etc. And then whenever the game is played, after them exclude the costs, them share the profit on a percentage basis, 50-50, 60-40, however them decide to do that.
Okay.
Because Mullins did that with Arnett, where we were home team, they were home team. The costs for the venue, everything, and all the associated stuff were taken out, and then them have a percentage split according to the agreement that the clubs have.
Okay. All right. Triple is saying, Brian, as far as Brian is saying, it doesn't appear as if the ROI, I think that
return on investment.
Yeah, profit the club if the game is being televised.
All right, so money's man.
It profits the club overall. It profits all the clubs, and so that when you're doing televised game, it profits all the clubs across the whole season, and then that revenue is shared. So like how I look at it is, if you're not giving the PFJL, well, you said they're not even the ones scheduling the games, but I would say if they don't have the flexibility to do that, then I don't know how you run the league that way.
All right, so the competitions committee set the fixtures. I think the PFJL, in an effort to do commercialization, them can seek amendments. So remember, you know, when the competition are scheduled the game, they wouldn't have, I guess, insight of all the TV games proposed. But let's say the TV partner say we want to televise 50 TV games for the season or whatever. Then I guess them can go to the competitions committee now and say, okay, we need 50 games this season, and them can work out them kinks and whatever. But I'm saying to you that it comes down to a collaboration thing, because as me I say, the clubs that were involved can decide that, okay, for this benefit, we want to go this way and play TV games and stuff like that.
Think it should be left down to that though, because then you give the club. It can't be left down to that, Brian.
Money, the clubs, money's
It can only be Brian, I think, like before the season, Like once they make the decision that they're gonna have televised games, and there has to be
Money,
flexibility
let me tell you,
of
money,
whoever is
listen
scheduling
to
the
me.
games.
Here, listen to me.
Let him finish now,
Hold on,
Brian.
money. Hold
Brian,
on.
let him finish, Brian.
What I'm going to say is going to make him not want to make that point.
That is
Okay,
very.
You see the day, you see this, the day
You're
of the
acting very
23rd day.
You're acting very Blakeish right now, you know, man.
No, I'm not. No,
It's
Pierre
the
knows that.
B.
Money,
It's the big B that's on the screen. Oh, that's Brian. Oh, I thought it was Blake. Sorry. It's
no.
Brian.
So
It's
money,
Brian. Okay, go ahead, Brian.
you see this meeting thing we're not talking about. You see the day when the JPL will start.
Yeah.
The very day, that is the day when the PFJL release the regulations and rules for the Premier
Oh,
League
that's bad.
officially on the day. So all I want to know is say, brother,
That's general practice or that just happened for this season?
money.
I'm just
I don't know if it's a general practice or it's a private practice. All I'm telling you is that this season, the rules for the competition was sent out to the clubs, officially signed off on the day of the Premier League.
So at that time, Brian, you were a manager of a club, right? So if the information came out on the day, was there a consultation to get to the point where they actually had stuff to send out with the clubs, or was it just like a sort of a dictatorship where they're providing the information as opposed to
No. It's not a dictatorship, but
Mm.
I mean, me just say the point where you want to make, where you say them to meet and collaborate and whatever. I'm just saying it. I think it should happen, but for whatever reason, it didn't happen. But Mannings, the clubs, I tell you, Mannings, the clubs, you can't say the people them who are market the league must just get up and decide that, yo, Cavalier, you're playing a humble lion today.
I'm not saying that they should just get up the morning and the day before a game, because obviously if you're going to engage security officers, if you're going to engage people to work to clean up your venue, you cannot know that the day before the game.
Yeah, but Mannings, even if you meet a week, even if you meet a month before, I'm saying the clubs have to agree.
Yeah, right. But Brian, what I'm saying that if all the clubs are given the power to disagree, then there is a problem. Your hope is that give the clubs the option because some are going to opt to do it. But the truth is that all clubs can disagree. So there is no TV game in the prime time, and that affects your TV deal, which means that less money on the league. And then
but Mannings,
scream out. So
but Mannings, I think if the conversation is held in an early enough time, good sense will prevail and it will work out the way in which it should.
But based on what you just said, a month, I think a month is enough time. I'm
just saying, prior to the start of the league, maybe the conversation between all involved should be had and then work it out.
What I'm saying though, Brian, here's why I can't agree with that to some extent. So at the start of the league, you may have believed that Harborview would be in the top 3. So you had the game between them and say Waterhouse as your primetime game. And
not like that. Not like the way which you are saying it.
Let me finish now, man. Let me finish. So that because when you did the fixture, that's what you had as your TV game. Because you didn't realize that a Tivoli Gardens would be firing the way they are. And there's a Tivoli Gardens versus Mount Pleasant game. So now you have to make an adjustment to the fixture. He's a sit, right? You just say, okay, instead of doing that game, I'm going to do this game. You should be able to talk to Mount Pleasant and Tivoli Gardens. I agree with that for the purpose of TV, because that is the game people want to watch, not the Harborview versus Waterhouse because they are 9th and 10th. As just hypothetically speaking, you understand me? And
hold on,
let me just read it, because I just had a text from one of the parents of the reggae boy saying that you're making reference to the EPL. It's a man you're making reference to the EPL. Yes, TV can shift times for games, but they
not
can't shift venues. Mm-hmm. No one will ever agree to play their home game at any away stadium, right? So they are saying that they can change the time, but I guess all of those stadiums are I don't know, because all of those stadiums are okay. Because most of our stadiums probably can run. It is not the best I don't know. Anyways, Brian, go ahead. I don't want to like.
Yes, so man, so me I say is, you see the way in which you want to say it.
Yeah.
So them can't just get up on this side say, oh, maybe on it hot now. I could give them TV game. It
Why?
has to be, but no, you're crazy, manins.
Why? Why?
Yeah, because all the clubs them supposed to have an equal right to get televised games. You tell a team say because him they have 40 team can't get a televised game.
But
You're
is that part of the agreement, though?
Right.
Is that part of the agreement that
No.
everybody has to be equal?
Equal.
Here, brother, I'm telling you, hey, we don't have a worse problem. Hey, manins, it can't happen that way there.
No, Brian.
It can't happen that way there, manins.
Asking you a
All of the
question.
clubs them have to get an equal opportunity to be seen.
No, I can't agree with that. Do you believe
Are you
that?
saying that generally as a principle, or are you saying that's the agreement?
I'm saying as a principle. I'm saying money.
Yeah, but I don't think that's practical.
Hear it.
Exactly.
Hear it. Just like when Money Cup I play, brother. So, well, we're not gonna use Money Cup.
No.
Just
Let,
say,
Money Cup is a good example.
Hold on, no.
Yeah.
hold on. Let me ask you this. You believe Limal deserves the same amount of TV game as Mount Pleasant, the defending champion, Brian?
Yes.
I can't agree with you, my brother.
Money's man. Okay. So hold on, no. So you're going to tell me that because Mount Pleasant won the Premier League, for the entire season they must have 15 televised games, and Limal
No,
must
but
have
it doesn't have to go to the extreme. Like if you use any sport, like if you use NFL, for example, the Monday night game is a big game where everybody wants to be seen, right? Because that's the only game that's on. Or I think now they have 2 Monday night games, but that's the game where everybody wants to be seen. But that doesn't mean they're going to put the Browns on Monday Night Football the same amount as the Cowboys or the Ravens that people want to see. So I don't think you can say that necessarily it has to be equal.
I'm telling you, it's based on the league set up still.
Yeah.
The possibility is that some teams will get more games because let's say, all right, so let's say me a feature Tivoli this week as a home team. Just an example. And Tivoli is playing Cavalier. But let's say next week I'm featuring Cavalier as a home team and Cavalier is playing Arnett. So you see where sometimes teams we get 2 feature even though they are not necessarily the main feature to get on me asset. But I'm saying, along the line, you can't just at a snap of the wrist get up and say, wait, Cavalier are playing them hot. Them on Tivoli. Yo, Cavalier, get a home game. Get a TV game. And
within a certain time period, you have to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I think that the person that made the comment about
Brian, listen. Brian, stop interrupting, man. Come on, man. Hey, listen.
the person.
Next time you come up, remove the B and the purple, from Kingston College. You understand me?
Okay.
Because I think the person that made the comment about what is exactly right in that in the Premier League example you used, you're not going to feature everybody the same, which is the reason why I say that certain teams play early so that they're separated from the rest of the teams because that's the game that people want to see. So Liverpool is going to play a whole bunch of early games as compared to Brentford or to Crystal Palace. So I agree with the fact that this is a little bit different because you're talking about changing venue. I would have thought that the PFGL or whoever is scheduling the league, like you said, the competitions committee would choose the games that they think are maybe more popular without changing the venue though. Like if Cavalier plays at home and Cavalier is playing Harborview and you want to show that game, you don't have to change the venue. So maybe choose a game where you don't have to actually have the teams change venue. I know that's also complicated by some of the venues that we have in Jamaica is not up to the TV standard, right? So there's only a few. Yeah. I don't know how many of the 14 teams are allowed based on the lights or whatever else to have those games. I think that's part of the issue as well.
Hey, strangely enough, the only 2 teams in the Premier League who can host night televised games is Moby and Arnett.
Okay.
And
Cavaliers and Vietnamese, because Cavaliers use Vietnamese as their home.
Well, Cavaliers using Savannah Park now, so yeah.
Okay.
But those 3 teams.
Go ahead, Brent, because the point I'm making is like A.M. Henry makes a very good point. So Lime and Treasure Beach playing.
Exactly.
You're probably going to put that up. But when Lime plays the top teams, so they didn't showcase Treasure Beach and Mount Pleasant because a Treasure Beach really, but there was going to be a TV game. The game before that was a good game. And here's what happened. Bam. Mount Pleasant is playing and they're up there. So Treasure Beach gets featured because that is why even in the EPL, there are some teams that you rarely see them in the NBA. I can count how many games I've seen of Detroit Pistons because they're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. You don't get TV game unless you're playing against probably the number 1, number 2, or number 3 seed at the time. And I think sometimes the fixtures change. So like New York Knicks now are getting a lot more TV game because they're playing well. And so I believe that there's a part of the marketing of the league that when a team is on fire, that you have to put them up. It's just like if you have a fire, who's going to have some goal scoring record? You want to capture that on TV, so you may adjust your TV thing because that's a part of the marketing of the league.
A part of the marketing of the league that all the teams are going to benefit from when you give the money out, right? So that's why I said there has to be an agreement as to that flexibility that whoever is doing the schedule has to be able to say we're going to show one team as opposed to another. That doesn't mean that we're not going to show, we're going to make it where the whole season passes and one team doesn't get seen. But I don't think you can have a realistic thing where you're actually trying to make money, where you're trying to equalize who's on TV or who's in prime time.
All right, so I think one of the other challenges that we have too is the broadcasters don't have the capabilities to be in two places at the same time. Yeah. So that's one of the challenges too, because so for example, you wouldn't see them streaming a game at Stadium East and then at Arnett or at Jackson and at Stadium East because of their, I guess, their limitations, for want of a better term. But you see, as it relates to this whole monetization of leagues and getting revenue and stuff, the less I say about that is the better, because it's yeah.
I would say this. Cranky says the television stations need to sell ads and wants a maximum audience to view their games. As such, why would they want to feature teams who do not draw big audience?
Man, I hear what Cranky is saying, and in an ideal world, that would be a good position to take. But I'm telling you that if you go about, if the PHL people go about only giving televised games to some teams more than they give to others, I'm telling you that you're going to have a next can of worms open up that you wouldn't want.
Let me ask.
Yeah, but doesn't that have to be solved? Like, because this is not a novel concept where people want to see certain teams. That's why the Premier League schedule is sort of adjustable, where they, at some point they'll say, okay, this game in the next 3 weeks is going to be a 7:30 a.m. our time game as opposed to 10 o'clock game. So it's not to say, okay, they're doing a formula where Fulham gets the same amount of early games as Liverpool does, as Arsenal does, as Crystal Palace does. They're actually adjusting the schedule based on trying to maximize the revenue, trying to separate the teams that people want to see and play them at a different time than the other teams are playing. So to me, that's the same principle. So like if I am Fulham, maybe I want to play more games in the prime time, even though it kind of works in the opposite way, because Liverpool is so popular that they're actually putting them earlier, which is sort of a disadvantage. But it's the same principle. They're trying to maximize the revenue, which is why they can pay all of these money to the Premier League teams, and the Premier League teams are so rich because everybody wants to watch the league. And part of the reason why everybody wants to watch the league is because they're seeing the teams that they want to see in the time slots that is probably more conducive to them playing. So to me, that's the same concept. So yes, you're going to ruffle some feathers if Treasure Beach doesn't get the same amount of games, highlight games as Cavalier or Mount Pleasant does. But to me, that's just the nature of the business. It's a business, it's not just a sport.
Yeah. So again, I get in this from England, right? you're man, you're perfectly right about some teams getting more airtime. I think the TV companies, what the TV companies do, and this is in England, is guarantee every club a minimum amount a game. So they're saying that you will not probably get less than 5, but some teams are going to get more.
Some teams are going to get 15, but that's just life.
But you're not going to get below 5, but you may not get 15, but you're not going to get less than 5. All right.
Yeah, money is money, and I don't think. Well, if that's the way, if that's what you meant earlier, then I agree. But I didn't think that that's what you meant.
No, I'm not saying that they should not get any games. I'm just saying that teams are going to. That's what we have been saying. But here's the other big point, right? So, I want to know from someone: is it that there's only one broadcast holder for EPL, or do they have multiple? Because maybe that is the issue we have. So, for example, if Sky is a major broadcast sponsor, is it that Sky have their cameras everywhere? So when we're seeing like 4 or 5 games going on, is it the same broadcaster that has all of those games that we are watching? Or is it multiple broadcasters that actually buy the rights from Sky and show it? How does that work? I don't know if anyone has. All right. Brian has to run. So do you know about that, Kerry? How does that work?
Not really. I don't know if there are multiple within the same market, but I know if there are multiple, then they would choose, right? They would choose whichever game they want to see the most, and then that's how the schedule gets adjusted. So some teams play at 7:30, some play at 10, some play at 3, etc. Somebody's saying EPL has multiple. So if they have multiple, I would imagine that's how it works, right? And which is why you don't have just a fixed schedule across the whole season. The schedule comes out, and then the schedule changes, right? Because I put in my phone, for example, Liverpool's schedule for the whole season. And if I was just to base on that, I would miss some games because Liverpool's game got moved from Tuesday at 10 to Wednesday at 3. And the reason for that is some of it is scheduling of different competitions and trying to give teams space in between games. But the major thing is TV, like getting the most popular teams in the most popular slots. So to me, it's the same principle that you would be doing with the JPL.
So maybe what the JPL has to do is to get more than one broadcast sponsor. So that if Sportsmax is showing this game, there's a next channel showing a game on the same day. And but Sportsmax say, listen, I want these 10 big games, and then you have to pay extra for these games, and you bid. So if I pay more than you, I get these 10. But listen, I still can show other games, but these ones I'm going to pay extra. So the other broadcaster cannot carry these games. Like somebody said, the BBC, for example, they carry the match of the day, which maybe that's the only game they carry. Right.
And so I imagine that BBC has some kind of right to choose in certain games, right? Like which game would they prefer? And that's why you see the schedule gets adjusted every now and then.
It says, Kerry, I don't know if you're going to take on this one. Iman said, why would you watch Liverpool for a whole season? I thought Kerry was sensible.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I watch every Liverpool game. So both when they're kind of good now, right? So they're on top of the table. But there have been times that we were a lot less than top of the table, and I had to watch the games anyway because I'm a fan. So that's just it.
Yeah, Karen, you had to work and still you spent 2 hours. You came
so if I get fired, then you try to get me a job maybe with the JFF or something.
I'm looking for a correspondent, because I'm moving my channel to West Palm Beach. So I need a Jamaica.
Oh, to West Palm Beach. West Palm Beach, Florida, right? Yeah.
So you can come to Jamaica and I'll come.
Yeah. I might be working with Dre Anyweather, because I told you that Dre Anyweather was at our tournament as a doing media, so you might see me at some press conferences on behalf of Dre Anyweather from Palm Beach, Florida. You never know. These negotiations are on the way.
All right. Yeah. All right. You never know. Yeah. But thank you so much for all the insight. I mean, very good show. Big up yourself. They call him the clip boss, player people, but if you go over there, don't try to tackle their money. I know you get pile and salad like crazy.
Yeah, I see you've been putting on my football skills the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure why that is, but I'll send you some videos though. I'll send you some clips as the clip boss. I'll send you some clips of my games. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Every time. All the best at the weekend. We
All
go
right,
see
man.
what we can do. I'll let you know if I'm passing through.
All right, that will be good. Let me know.
Yeah, man. All right, carry
All
on.
right, boss. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right, so that's scary, James, right there. Very good, right? I have one bit of information that I need to share with you, right? Yeah. Let me see if I can find it. So let me read this. This is a Jamaica Gleaner article, right? I have their Crow, but it is missing an N. It is actually Crown, and it says slippery slope. Crown warns JFF in face of potential FIFA intervention. So let me just read the article and then hey, big up Dre anyway that sports, you know. Yeah, man. Following FIFA's intervention in the Jamaica Football Federation's affairs after the postponement of the elections recently, noted sports attorney Emir Crown says a potential normalization committee may be warranted, but has warned it may be harmful to the JFF. The voting Congress of the JFF was set for January 14th, with the incumbent Michael Ricketts being challenged by the current Vice President Raymond Anderson for the presidency. However, the election was postponed for at least 28 days after an injunction was granted by the Supreme Court following an appeal made by Beach Soccer Jamaica. There have also been several issues highlighted by the Ricketts and Anderson teams during the build-up to the election, particularly with the eligibility of voting delegates. Crown told the newspaper that those issues have tarnished the electoral process. Based on what's in the media, based on what's public out there, I think it is fair to say that the JFF elections are tainted. I think it's fair to say that the election bears the mark of an unfair process. This is just purely of what's out there in the public domain. But I think some external oversight is, in fact, warranted. Now, whether that oversight or intervention is from FIFA or the courts is a different question. But at a minimum, it's fair to say the JFF elections are tainted and so far do not have all the hallmarks of a fair election process, Crown said. Following the postponement, FIFA communicated with the JFF that it, along with the region's governing body, CONCACAF, will be conducting a comprehensive analysis on the JFF statutes and regulations and will discuss the way forward, meaning no election can take place until that is done. If FIFA is dissatisfied following the analysis, they could appoint a normalization committee, similar to what they did with fellow CONCACAF member association, Trinidad and Tobago Football Association in 2020. Crown was the lead counsel for the TTFA in their battle with FIFA at the Court of Arbitration of Sports, CAS, as well as Trinidad and Tobago High Court and Court of Appeal. It is fair to say that normalization is never a good thing, even if the local administration is on solid legal footing. And here, open bracket, and here I'm speaking generally, close bracket. There is more to football than merely the legality of a situation. Football is political. The JFF needs to take FIFA's existing intervention or correspondent very seriously. Even if one has a strong legal leg to stand on, and however one may feel about the legal strength of a case, there are other dimensions to be normalized, he said. A normalization committee is typically appointed by FIFA to oversee the affairs of a national football association in cases where there are governance issues or concerns. Its primary role is to ensure the proper functioning and stability of the association until new elections can be held. There's also recent precedent regarding elections, as in 2021, FIFA appointed a normalization committee for the Guinea Football Association due to a series of irregularities that took place during its electoral process, and did the same with Chad's Football Association for its inability to carry out an electoral process. Though not wanting to expand on some of the issues he had with the normalization process, Crown believes countries in this region may not find it pleasant. As I say, one may have a strong legal case, but small island politics are a lot more. Small island dynamics are a lot more than pure law. There is also the human element, the day-to-day element. Executives of sporting body like football, cricket, and track and field, they are not really anonymous in small island countries. They are quite visible, and West Indians generally have no problem expressing their views. So I would just warn them to consider the extra legal implication of it all, he said. Other countries, including Argentina, Greece, Egypt, Venezuela, have seen FIFA intervention through normalization committees. All right? People, I am telling you, this is going to the court. Don't tell you what. Listen. People think like, okay, election, and it's going to be done. And over. All right, so now that we do this, let's go. We're going to have an election. Yeah, man, long time. Yeah. Election. It's not that. The election can be done. Remember, they had the election in Trinidad. It was after the election and somebody had won. The challenging party had won. The guy came on and spoke about it. Look law. It's beyond that. All right? Beyond that. Let me go a little further. So, the other issue is, like I tell you, we're going to change, the person you see on the show, we're going to change the culture of the show. Show going to elevate its discussion. So some of you are going to struggle, Some of you who come to talk hogwash and nonsense, you're going to struggle. You're going to not feel pleasant because you're not going to hear what you want to hear. So when you see Cranky and Nia, myself and Kerry and all the other people, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle to comprehend. Marlon Nelson, bless up yourself. So let me help you people. So I said recently, because people misrepresent you. I said recently, right? That one of the things I think the Anderson camp should have thought about is having the information that they had. I believe if they had gone ahead, knowing that some of the parishes were unregistered, according to them, they would have won the election. The fact that the courts are involved, we don't even know what's going to happen after the election. That's number one. Number two, what they have done is they have allowed the incumbent team to go ahead now and watch this and get the places duly registered. Because remember, there were operating entities. So all they needed to do is to complete the registration at the company's office. They have a vote in Congress and they would all be accepted. So what that means, all of those parishes who were unregistered will become registered. In fact, I have spoken to, watch this, 3 of the parish president. I cannot show you the document, but they have texted me and said, we have completed the process, right? And one of them said, listen, I think it's all your public can say this, St. James, instead of A at the end, because it was registered, it had football club instead of football association. So they just needed to change the name. So by the end of this week, all of those will be registered. And what they are going to do is to have what they call the Congress, where they are going to say, okay, you can be included, you can be included, you can be included. But when that is done, then all of those parishes are back in, according to the constitution that they have. The only other way is to say, throw away the constitution as it is, because it is in conflict of what we want to accomplish. Bam. All right? There we go. So that part, I think we all understand. So that's the point I was making, and I keep making it. Let me tell you this. You see, after this election, regardless of who wins, it is going to be the beginning of FIFA's intervention. FIFA just want to know that this process happened. So they are not going to, because the election can go on, you know. Don't believe that because somebody becomes the president from either side, that this whole FIFA involvement is done. Again, remember, when I spoke to the gentleman from Trinidad, the election was done. They were supposed to be in power. And it was that time that FIFA stepped in and basically removed them and took over. It has been 4 years and they still are without an election. They did say February, and word on the ground is that there's nothing in place to do it. So I don't know what everyone wants. Like, everyone has their own opinion and you're free to that. Here's what I know. That, listen, let me put up my hand. Oh, let me just state this one. The Constitution is not fit for purpose. All right, that's cranky. I see the opposite way, management. If Anderson team would try to exclude the parishes from the voting, it would be in direct conflict of their argument or of other affiliates being. That's a good point. See, sometimes you need other. That's a good point. But what I'm saying, Jason, is that, and maybe I misunderstood what they were saying, because what they were saying is that those votes would end up going to them. So remember, I know the idea is to get the votes. So what they were saying is that those, if and maybe I misunderstood what they were saying, because I take it that if they had gone to the Congress, then they would have gotten those, I think 7 parishes, 14 votes to go to Kasafa. And Kasafa is on the Anderson side. So if they got those 14 votes, with the 8 that they have, that's a whole lot. So I thought that's what they would have done. I don't know if it could work that way. So that's how I saw it. But your point is, it makes sense. So I don't know. So I always felt like, whoa, if I had this information up my sleeve, I'd go there and say, whoa, no. Those votes can't be yours. They are not duly registered. Come on now, you know that they are not duly registered. The election is on. Hey, and you know what the Constitution said? Bring them over to the largest association. Put them over to Kasafa. Ta-da! 14 more votes for us. I think that, I always thought that could have been played out. No, man. Remember, nomination day is not nominating the parishes. It's nominating the candidates, Mirac. So remember, even the beach thing in court, what the beach people are saying is that we want to be included as part of the voting. That is a new one. So if they win, they could also be included, and that's 2 votes that they would get to give. So there still be a Congress to include them. On another show when a person here. What? Boot? Oh, jeez. No. Henry, that is that. You follow the Constitution. People, I am not giving you. Listen, it's like how Jason gave me a different perspective. I'll take that. Henry, I am not here to spread propaganda. Cranky has gone through the Constitution. Nia has gone through it. I have gone through it. And I have other people have gone through it. There will be 56 votes at the election, unless them spoil. Let me say it again. There will be 56 votes unless the votes spoil. People, there should have been 112 votes. It was significant compromise for FIFA to allow only 56. There are going to be 56 votes whenever this election is held. 56 of them will be there. Mark my words. Unless vote spoil. So the parishes are a red herring. The elephant in the room is Coaches Association and beach football. I don't think Mr. Speed can benefit from being in control of a body that elects him. Be in control. You have to explain that one. So you're saying that Mr. Speed is in charge of a body that is electing him? How does that work? So like you're saying that like a parish president cannot be voted for because I don't understand. Or if you, Issa cannot vote in the election because Mr. Wellington is a vice president. That I don't understand that, DW. You have to help me understand that. Maybe I need to get something. Okay. All right, we just have a couple of minutes to go. This is a good question. Hey, you know what? If it's a 28, isn't there a certain majority that you have to win though? I think they'd have to redo it. Oh, they're saying that the largest association is St. Catherine. But only voters can nominate. Yes, what I'm saying that because they have been, remember the parish is nominated, so the only thing you could say is that, okay, based on the fact that these people, because remember, you only needed 1 vote from each of the pillars to be nominated. 1 from pillar 2, 1 from pillar 3, 1 from, so they had more than the amount of nomination from the pillars. So I think the nomination part is okay. So after nomination, now you need to get yourself ready for the voting process. So I don't think that is, we're not going to spread any propaganda, but yeah. No, but DW, come on. So you're saying that Mr. Wellington, who is a VP, and Issa is going to vote otherwise? Come on, man. Come on, DW, man. You think? Come on, man. Come on, DW, man. No bother with that. Man, no bother with that. Man, nothing wrong with it, man. You could never expect. Why we are being so trivial, man? Listen, we're trying to elevate the conversation. We now go down the trivial road there, you understand? But people, listen, you're going to have to hear from Cranky later, You understand me? Because when you see Cranky out in the day, spitting fire, him come today, he took the weekend off. You understand me? Cool, lick him. Man couldn't even come on any program for the weekend. You understand me? Cool, a bite up there, though. You understand me? Say, if he just ease himself. So he may be running out later. I don't know, Coach Boris Johnson, bless up yourself. But I have to run people. Listen, hey, we're going to talk about a social issue. You know that I don't know how long where have been registered, but what I'm saying to you is that all the parishes that were not registered, remember I say the companies that they are not registered as company. One of them is just a A should be there instead of a C. The others will be registered. All right, but let me just do this quickly. So may be wondering where was management. So we have a little thing. Listen, all right. You see why? I'm gonna tell the people in my Jamaica right now. Big up on yourself now, come on and plug this in for Reno before we even get to that. So we're gonna finish around 2 hours and 45 minutes. Bam. Which is like, yeah. Bam. Number one. Reno. People from Westmoreland. The people them from Westmoreland, right, you know. You need to drop some super stickers and super chats so we can get some boots for the Reno Football Club in Westmoreland. We need it from last week, me asking, I mean, I have a beggy business. When you come from them areas there, or maybe somebody not even from there, but you used to watch them club. They might try something with some young youth, which try stem the crime and violence in Westmoreland. If you don't want to do it through the channel, have a way. You can go right to the store and pay for a pair of boots. The general name is Donald Pussman Wilson. He has his Wilsden Sports, right? You can go there and Zelle the payment and they pick up the boots there. Watch this. They need if they can get 10 pairs. 10 pairs. All right, me not get no information about Petersfield. Me just get work with them I get, right? If Petersfield, then they can talk to me. But Reno first. Petersfield have to talk to me. Come on, they can put out what me know for sure. It's 10 pairs they need. You understand me? Like $70 can buy a proper pair. It can help out with a decent pair of boots. It's way more, but $70 can work. So, yeah, just help. This is a way you can get involved. So your name, I go there. So when them say, so when you decide that you want to be involved, yeah, man, me used to buy. You understand? I was a person who buy that pair of boots, buy that 2, that 3, that 4, that 5. So if you want to do that, you can text me and I'll give you the information directly. The sell information directly. All right, you can link me privately. All right, yeah. So, bam, know that. All right, so. Finally, let me end with this. All right. Me think Pussman better than Catman. We talk about Triple E. But on a different level. So, had an incident, I'm going to show you why. Jamaica, we have to do better. I will relate to the people in my story. And let me say this, I respect the people in the medical field. Big up all doctors, nurses, porters, ambulance drivers, lab techs, and all of those people. If any of you know my story, when it comes on to medical healthcare in Jamaica, I believe that my mother should have been alive. I believe my young sister should have been alive and could have been alive if certain administrative functions were done the way they were supposed to be done. Because my sister, for example, just needed one person to do a letter to complete the treatment overseas. Right? That never happened. Recently, I was involved in a situation that the person actually died. All right? So, elderly man, over 70s, fell from a scaffolding, I think the name is, goes to the hospital. I'm not going to call no, but we want we understand as Jamaican, we have to do better. So if you're a doctor, a nurse, just anybody out there, we can do better than this. Fell from a scaffolding, real story, right? Real story. Very close to me. Real story. Fell from a scaffolding. Goes to the doctor in immense pain. 72 years old, right? Bam. He had a broken arm, laceration on his feet. They dealt with the laceration. Did the broken arm. No check whatsoever. All they did, they put some stuff on him arm, put it in a little white thing, tie it up, bam, bam, bam. Give him some painkillers, right? And then says to him, give him an appointment to come back to the hospital that he went to in February. He was in such intense pain that he had to go back to the hospital following day because he goes home, he's vomiting and just abdominally lots of pain. Go back to the hospital. No checks whatsoever. Painkiller. Man go home. The next day, the man go back to the hospital. 72 years old. Bawling. His wife. Pain all over him. Abdomen starts swelling. Man vomit. The hospital. If you know medicine, you know there's something gone bad enough. Right? And send him home. The man in pain again. Go to the hospital the third time. And then send him home. By this, his wife spoke to his daughter, who took him to a private person to look at him. The man said, what is he doing here? This man should be admitted in a hospital. Give them what they call it, a referral. He goes to the hospital and he was admitted immediately because of the seriousness of the situation. All right? So the fall that the man had some abdominal, people in medicine, they call what was a purse there. You know what a purse is? It means that there's no excretion. So all of the filth is now on the inside, poisoning the rest of the man's organ. This is all from the fall, Kidneys, heart, everything failing. So urgent it was that the hospital finally put in an ambulance and make him go do a scan and see all the issues. Had to do immediate surgery. At this time, he had 98% chance of dying, 2% chance of living. Of course, he did the surgery, but ended up dying after the surgery. So do you know, people, like me, I tell you, the only record that was there was for the man to come back, would come check him on in February. Because somebody see a 72-year-old fall off our place. And she didn't have no links and no connection. And through him probably at the point, them don't know who him be. We don't pay attention. And a man losing life. Respect to every nurse, every doctor, every ward, every porter, every people who work in our medical field. But we can do better than this. This is not to knock anybody. But we have to do with job and do it with diligence. Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body, in service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently. May I use this as an opportunity. A life gone, it gone, fine. There's a next lady. This is happening. Up in St. Mary, in an accident, foot got broken, same thing. Sent her home again and again. The lady die. When them die, all are same thing. Internal bleeding, all kind of things in her abdomen. People, we can do better. Me know our doctors, them not get enough pay. We know our nurses, them not get enough pay. Me know a whole heap of gunshot victims and whole heap of accident victims, and the pressure is on and the work is on. But to work diligently, we have to do a job and do it properly. That's all I want to say. Me I talk as a youth where I know what I go through with my mother when he died. Talk as a youth whose sister at 16. We have everything. We rented every equipment. Visited some of the best neurologists, neurosurgeons to do it. And not to wait time and 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 time. All kind of excuse. But we don't like to bring up because there were some good nurses there that understood. And people said that bring it to court, bring it to court, bring it to court because they can. You know what we do? We said no. Let this be an example that all of us learn from this. So you know what I tell myself? You see, if me there Jamaica, me sick, uno make me stay on me yard. Me make me just dead. No bother waste. No foreign me good. And it's not because we don't have excellent people in the medical field in Jamaica. Me I tell you, we have some of the best. We have some of the best. We have to be diligent. But out of respect, I'm not going to call out certain things. I'm not going to do that because I know that there are people in there doing their job. Because in everything you have good and bad, It pained me. And you know what is funny? It's an elderly couple, So because all them get is a piece of card to come for the hand. Here's what happened. The lady would have to see every single medical person to know who them see. Because them didn't even give them name. So no fingers can be pointed at anybody. All I'm saying is that people, we can do better. The thing not perfect, man, but we can do better, man. People, not perfect, but we can do better, man. To work diligently, man. Make we put up that in our offices, man. To work diligently. I mean, know sometimes some man will kill whole heap of people and do all kind of nonsense coming there and them probably believe so they deserve. Me understand that. But we elderly people them and we kids them, we have to treat them better. These are 72 years old. Before independence and people are born, man, we have to do better. My people, we have to do better. We can't understand when you see a criminal and you hear say a police shoot him because him just kill 100 person, blah blah. What? Me can't understand. They feel like me understand that. Me not agree with it, but me understand that. But a 72-year-old, a them people that we take care of. These are our elders. Our kids, we have to take care of them. Everybody need care now. But we can bear with people when we see it at certain level. But them thing here, we can do better. I'm not going to tell me, I'm going to give you an example at school now. Because I go on school, and while class I go on, a TikTok, I see the teacher pan, all kind of, hey, and I like the teacher, I watch. Yo, I tell you, and I like the teacher, I watch a video on TikTok, The teacher in a class, female teacher, in a class, when class are going, and you're going to tell the kids them not to bring phone to school now. We can do better, Jamaica. But I am Manning's man. This is I Am Sure Sports. And when it comes to the end of the show, we normally say we are over and out. Let us say to work diligently and creatively. Like, share, and subscribe.